I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm someone who has experienced life. I've lived it, and I've hit all the targets I want.
You are telling your story.
I'm telling my story. Yes, there are people who read about stuff and they say it. I'm someone who has endured.
Motivational speakers. They are boosters.
They're boosters.
For you, I'm telling your story.
Yeah, I'm someone who has experienced life, and I say it. For the last 24 years, I've seen it.
And you've said it.
I've seen the power of persistence. I've seen the power of vision. Because it's the vision which makes you focused. A person with a vision is never diverted for any reason. All the revolutions you have seen in this world, they're visionary. It's people who have seen what a normal brain hasn't seen.
And they go towards that.
The vision can discipline you. Because whatever happens to you, you always question, does it help me walk towards my vision? If not, you let go.
And how do you tell that this is a vision?
It's what you see.
You know, we have things that come to our minds. And then at the end of the day, with the analysis that you could make this particular person that is got attached to this particular item that has come to their mind. Sometimes they are delusions, if I may say. Somebody wakes up and say, I want this. But then they are not working
towards it. Their actions are different from what they intend to do.
So I want to know, when do you say that this is a vision? Leave alone when you say, I have a goal. Because they're two different things. I have a goal. But then there is what we call a vision that we are trying to talk about. When do you say that this is a vision and I have to work towards this vision? Even if the goal tells me to stop here, but then there is a vision that I have to work towards. Sometimes the goal is going to be obtained at this stage. But then the vision
people tend to mistake fantasy for vision.
Okay.
They tend to mistake lust for love. But a person who knows, knows.
And how do you know?
A vision is something you believe. It is how you believe. Okay. Anything wrong or right is wrong or right according to your belief. When I see alcohol, I run away. Okay? For a Christian, when they see alcohol, they see a beverage. What causes that?
The belief.
It's the belief.
You believe and the belief.
It remains the same substance, but the belief
is different.
Makes it right or wrong. Now, people who are focused, who know what they want, the feelings are there. The vision is it brings up the feelings. The feelings create the energy. It's the energy that makes you do something. It's not what you know, it's what you feel. It's the energy you feel. For instance, you might want to lose weight. I can go to the gym, you know that.
Yeah.
Okay? I can stop the bad eating habits. We know it.
Swimming.
I can do the swimming. So knowing does not mean doing. Do you get it? In the end, it's the energy to do it.
You apply.
Application. So why are you not going to the gym? I don't feel like it. It's the energy. Do you get it? But when the doctor tells you that you are on this level, you are going to get this and this, you're on a borderline, all of a sudden the energy will come in and you do it. There was a story of these two young boys. They're walking on snow and one of the boys fell down. The remaining boy went and got a big branch of tree and slid it down for the other one to capture it and get out. And when help came, the ambulance came, all the neighbors came out to see what was happening. They were all wondering how this child managed to get this big branch of tree and take it and help the other. There was an old man standing there. He said, I know exactly what happened. There was no one to tell this child that he could not do it. So he did not think it was the energy, fight or flight mode. It was swim or sink situation. That all the energy that himself couldn't see for himself on a normal day.
Until he did it.
Until he did it.
That's when you capture.
Before people went to Mountain Everest, to go up there, there was this popular belief that no one could do it.
Could get to Everest up there.
They tried, they failed. They tried, they failed. The moment the first person did it, thousands did it. What changed there? They went there knowing that someone had done it before. They had the energy.
Somebody would say last month some Kenyan died from there.
Yeah. That's the negative energy. So the dream actually, the vision, if it is embedded well in your subconscious mind, the habits follow it. Yeah. It's the smaller habits.
Do we have indicators? Like for instance, you have a vision of going to the UK, and then here comes situations where whichever would be indicators, like let me say the passport is not gotten, the visa is not gotten, whichever money you put in, you're investing, it is eaten up. Yet, let me say, if at all the passport comes, that's an indicator. The vision is getting what?
It's getting there.
The visa comes, maybe you're looking for money for the ticket. These are indicators, per se. But then you are faced with a situation, like you said, where there would be indicators, they are hampered. They are nowhere to be seen. What keeps you to say the belief keeps alive? If we put it to context of God, sometimes you pray, and then I may say, I would pray with you. We pray together on this night of maybe 27th during Ramadan. You tell me what you prayed for. Here comes time you are given. If you prayed for a Range Rover, you are buying a Range Rover.
Yeah.
I prayed with you. I prayed for a Brabus. I'm not getting a Brabus. I'm getting even nothing. So, would I resort to say that if my vision, which is a belief, has not gotten indicators, I have to quit it because I have no indicators to say maybe
it's happening. It's happening anytime soon.
What keeps you driven?
It's the energy.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mayanja Yakub is my name. We are back here again to see that we get you information that is required to enrich you into whichever field you so wish to become who you want. Well, today I'm having one of the seasoned real estate guru that we have in the country. None other than Hajj Yasin Bakaluba is here with us to say that we reach you with one of the best and also resourceful persons in regards real estate development. I hope you have had a good week. Here we are to start another one. Hajj Yasin Bakaluba. Assalamu alaikum wa
rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Well, our viewers, they have been waiting for you for so long, and we want to know, when did you start hearing about Thurayya Media?
I can't tell how many years it's been, but it's been a while. I started hearing of you guys when I was still in London. I cannot specifically say.
For us, we have just made 10 years last year.
It's a long time. Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I've known you for that period of time as well. You are the pioneers. You are the most respected in that field.
MashaAllah. Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Well, Hajj, I'm of the view that the public is in know of who you are. Some they are still speculating of who you are. Here we are, you've got an opportunity to let them know who Hajj Bakaluba Yasin is. No wonder I'm not taking any mantle from within that I so wish or have to let them know who you are, but to be coming from the horse's mouth himself. Who is Hajj Yasin Bakaluba?
Hajj Yasin Bakaluba is
I know you have.
Is a humble man born in Bukoto, Ntinda. to Hajj Muhammad Sechimwani and Hajjati Mariam Naku in the beginning of the 80s. I would say that I'm 42 years.
MashaAllah.
I've struggled with life, as many of you have heard my story, and I'm thankful to Allah that I'm where I am right now today. Currently, I'm an estate developer, and I wouldn't love to call myself a motivational speaker. I would prefer to call myself a life coach.
A life coach.
That is it.
Okay. You are a real estate developer and also a life coach.
A life coach.
I get it right?
You got it right.
What was life like for you to grow in Uganda?
First of all, you need to know how many years I had to live in Uganda. That was 19. For 19 years, I can't give much.
Out of the 48?
Yeah, I'm 42.
Rather 42.
Yeah, 42. So
19.
19 here, 19 in the UK.
Okay.
Now I'm back here for 4 years.
Okay. So what was life like growing up in Uganda?
Like any other normal Ugandan child.
No, you can take us through. Specifically you.
All right, now born
that
to.
they can relate.
Okay, actually born to a polygamous family. You remember those days when you had to live like 15, 14 kids in one house at a go, with lots of cousins, lots of people around in the house. My mom wasn't around, they were separated with my dad, and I grew up in a bunch of sisters. So I was the only boy in between there. And how I took life around, I can't easily tell. I would say that I was loved by my sisters so much. And to be honest with you, I cannot specifically tell how life went on a daily. But in polygamous families,
you have that one day that you can't go by without
I think in a polygamous family, as you know, I think it was a survival on a daily. Those days.
This is the typical life of a polygamous family.
Polygamy. And this was way back in the 90s, because I can consciously tell my stories from the 90s when I had just reached my 10s. We had no internet, just going to the well, playing football, being dirty all the day, stealing jackfruit or from sugarcane. Literally, that was it.
There was from this village to the other.
There was nothing to life apart from no purpose at all. Purpose to do what? Our main agenda as the day started was literally to wake up, do a few chores at home, going to school, coming back, fetching water, and it was actually our daily obligation that we had to fetch water. If you don't fetch water, there's no chance of seeing the comedy show. Those shows. I think we had like 3, 4. 3, 4.
It would be a punishment for you.
And
if you fail to do this, you're going to miss watching TV.
Watching TV was a very big privilege. Remember those days? I think UTV used to start broadcasting from 4, and they had to go off at 10.
Definitely.
So
lines could come.
They say goodbye until tomorrow. So it was a privilege. When you see the screen coming on, you had
now
to be there.
Now the viewers are saying, maybe I'm also
anyone from the 90s remember that life. So it was a privilege. It was one of the forces which made you go and do what you had to do in time before the TV comes on. Wow. So literally it was that. And the good thing about our era, about our days, was knowing almost everyone on the village. And it was those beautiful days where a child had to grow up in a proper manner, being in a situation where...
You were a communal child.
You were a communal child. You could be easily disciplined by any elder.
Definitely.
And it was taken in good faith. It was the order of the day, unlike nowadays.
Of course, today.
Where a child is your child.
Definitely.
Not anyone's.
Today you punish somebody's child, of course you have to be answerable.
You done,
even to the society itself. Who you to punish my child and all that.
That is
I asked you to tell us this bit of your life for the viewers to also appreciate that this is not a Brella kind of person that comes from the UK to come and tell us what.
No.
We have misconceptions of saying, now this person has not been here. He's coming back from the UK to tell us what. You understand?
Yeah,
They want to presume that maybe
No, I
for the
get
rest
the
of your
angle.
life you've been in the UK.
Yeah.
And they fail to appreciate and notice that scope of you being a part of this upbringing in Uganda, where you've told us for 19 years you are now in Uganda, you are growing up, you are going through the same system that most of us went through. Well, Hajj Bakaluba, 19 years now. How do you make up your mind to say, now I'm going to the UK?
To the UK.
And
Actually, one of the, it may sound stupid, but one of the main reasons that actually made me make up the decision that I had to go to the UK was an introduction ceremony of my brother in 1994. He was in Woolwich, London.
Okay.
They sent us the cassette, the tape by then. We watched it, and oh my God, those days, you saw those guys with the French cards, you know, the Hammer days, the AC Vanilla, and those kind of trousers they used to put on. As a child, I was enticed. I
got
thought,
tantalized to say, I should be,
that was a very good life. And I think after 2 years, he made a wedding. I saw him being driven around in a limousine.
in the UK.
There was nothing left in me. It was my dream, 100%. I wanted to go to the UK. I was just
So that
taken
you
up.
get familiar with the life as well.
Yeah, with the life. And in 1996, I was only 19 years. No, I was actually 15 years. So the idea started building in me that I wanted to do it. I really, really wanted to do it so bad. I got in contact with a guy called Badru. You might know him. He used to come to Chisasi, the Sevagala family. And we discussed, and good enough, he had some siblings in the United States. I think they were his aunties. And he told me the story. I got more encouraged. Do you know, when two brains sit together, being bundled by one idea, there's
If
that.
it is a common agenda.
Yeah,
you
there was
have to
that.
break
Yeah,
it down.
there was that common agenda. I really wanted so bad to go to the UK, but as a 15-year-old, who was going to support the agenda? No one.
15 years old.
15-year-old.
You were brainstorming on how you can get to the UK.
Yeah. And
Wow.
when
First, we
I,
have to say, maybe I have to first wait and finish my university. Then I start
now
thinking of
now
relocating.
that is the difference. It's never too early to do the right thing, and dreamers dream early. The problem with us today, people are not dreaming.
You know, we have social constructs of life where we have to say, I have to go a series of these steps, like others have been going through.
The programming.
I know I have to be the programming.
The
I have to
programming.
be born. After being born, I have to go primary, secondary, university after university. Then I start thinking of other ways of life. Should I stay here? Should I start thinking of going to
Now,
London?
Council,
and all that?
one thing I have to tell you, as you look at the world today, the greatest philosophers, you know, they have spoken to people who have made it in life. People who have actually made it in life are people who have avoided institutionalized mental attitude. They don't go by life rules. I'm not saying that they should be rebels, but from the word go, there is that hint in them that they are not going to be normal. Because what you see in their success is not normal. It's not normal results. It's what everyone is looking for.
You're
but
saying for one to be successful, you must do something
yeah, success.
abnormal.
Yes,
if I may say,
yes.
as per the society.
Success is extraordinary, and you cannot get extraordinary results
From
when
normal.
you act normally. You have got to do something a bit extraordinary for you to get that, because everyone wants to be successful, but where do we part ways?
How do you develop this mind? I mean, you are 15. For you have known how you've developed your mind. For a viewer that is there, let me say is beyond 15 now. How do they make up their minds to say, now I have to go an extraordinary way for me to
Actually, you know, first of all, making up the decision that I wanted to do this was the main thing. And it was later followed by chains of events that changed my attitude towards life altogether. And here it came. At around 17 years, I was enticed by, I don't know, I could say it was peer pressure. My friend told me that we could actually go to the UK. There was this someone who knows how to make passports, and after making the passports we'll be able to get the visas. I said that's fine, well and good, but what is stopping us was the money. Now I go back home. I told you I've already made up the decision now, and
you're looking at implementing the decision.
yeah, implementing the decision, and now things started evolving.
Because you've showed the need, you've showed the desire, and you're working towards
it,
that goal.
But I was a child anyway. But as I keep on preaching to people that success meets a prepared mind. First of all, I would say that I was prepared. I wanted to do it.
Because the mind was already made.
Yes, I was looking up to my big brother. I really, really wanted to do it so badly. But I didn't have the ability. I didn't have the means. Now, the chain of events which followed just led me to what I wanted. Now, these are the chains of events. I wanted to go. Yeah, I wanted to go, but I didn't have the money. But I had a friend whom we discussed the same issue over and over again. And, what was stopping us was the money. We got the contacts, but we lacked the money. My friend told me, during the 90s, these cameras you see here, were not available easily. True. So I think I would say at the whole village of Bukoto, we are the only ones who had it. My dad had bought it from the UK.
So it is in the blood?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't.
Because the brother is already there. The dad goes to UK, purchases a camera, and comes back with it.
No, actually, my dad didn't go to the UK. He went to Mecca. I misspoke there. He went to Mecca. And this friend of mine enticed me, like, you should bring it. We are going to go and make money, real money. And
this camera?
Yeah, the camera. I think there was a graduation in Makerere, and he told me how much we could get out of that. But I couldn't get my hands onto the camera. Now,
not those days.
Those days, they used to hide it so far. As an adult,
and even if it was at your disposal, how can you take it away?
How can they entrust it with a child? Of course, they were not going to do that. As an adolescent, I became a bit unruly at home, and I fell out with my dad. I remember it was around 10 at night. He came to me, he asked me where I was the whole day. I didn't have any answers. To him, he was a no-nonsense man. And
you were somewhere, but then they were not making sense. Where you were was not making sense to him.
Yeah. As an adolescent, coming back at home at 10, what do you expect any parent to do? Remember the Hajjis of those days. True. Even up to now, as a parent, a child of 17 coming back late at night is going to piss you off, definitely.
This is a minor, if I may say.
Yeah, my dad comes to me at around 10. He had already made up his mind that I had to leave home. So he got all my belongings, which was just a mattress, and we used to call it Gilbert. Those cases we used to take at school. I packed
the metallic cases?
Yeah, the metallic cases. I had to pack everything I had, and I remember in my pockets I had 50 shillings. By then I remember it was a red note.
Yeah.
That's all I had in my pockets. He threw me out, and I remember our last words were like, all right, go to your mom, salam alaikum. Said wa alaikum salam.
10?
Yeah, and that was the beginning of my journey, 10 at night p.m.
You moved out with the kids?
Yeah, I moved out. Yeah, at night I didn't know where to go. I went to my friend, I think you know him good enough, he's called Jalil. He was looking after a site of a lady called Nachito. He allowed me to stay there.
From when I know you to date, I hadn't gotten this bit of how do you get to have Jalil, your close mate, the way he is.
I think I met him when I was 15.
The way you speak with high regard about him. I didn't get this bit of it. Now I'm getting it.
Yeah, I think I met him when I was like 15 years, 15, 14. So it's been a long journey, me and him.
Indeed.
Yeah, and by then he was a porter. He was looking after someone's site. Okay. He allowed me to stay there for a night. And the following day at around, lunchtime, come on, the starvation came in. I didn't know what to do. When you're a child, you can only think for a few hours. Other than, more than that, there's nothing to think about.
True.
So
You don't think beyond.
Yeah, I didn't think beyond. Now I was driven by anger. I wanted to eat something. A friend of mine had already advised me that, listen, at this point, there's nothing we can do. We need to start business really bad. I said, okay, don't worry about it. I know the graduation is this coming Sunday. I know where they keep the camera. I'll just go home, peacefully borrow it, and we start the business.
So now you are getting to that extraordinary.
Yeah. Now it was double trouble. I go back home and I pick the camera. I happened, if my memory serves me well, to land on something like $100 worth of money right now. It was $340. And by then I think the passport was $150. So I knew that
Those are two passports.
Mine and my friend. The problem was already sorted. I got the money.
This money, you get it from where you got the camera?
Yeah. I was borrowing from my dad, unauthorized way.
So you go to pick the camera to get money to buy the passport.
To
get the passport.
To get the passports.
I would say fortunately, but wrongfully.
Things were falling in place. Now the money I took, I never spent it. It was for a cause, and I was deliberately directing it to the cause. Now I got the money. We gave
the reaction
it,
from the person who took the money.
It was harsh.
And the camera.
It was harsh. They started looking for me. I don't know what happens in childhood, man. I don't know. What I did, I got 300, gave it to the lady who was supposed to be making the passport.
Because it is different. Sorry to interrupt you. I understand it is different from you, with you taking the money when you are still within the household, and with you taking the money in a rebel manner, because you are now coming back.
Yeah, now I came back as a rebel.
As a rebel?
Yeah, I attacked.
Of course, I can imagine the reaction now.
I attacked. Actually, this was the second day, because the first day I survived. The second day I had to attack when they go to the garden to dig. I know there was no
conditions. For the
desperate measures. I knew the conditions at home. I know in the morning they will all leave home. So in the morning I attacked. I went, collected the money, collected the video, and that's how I departed home. Wow. So long, and my journey started. What I did, I got the 300, gave it to the lady. The remaining balance helped us with the photos. We gave it to her. We waited for a week, second. And I think after the second week, I realized that things were not going to work out as I thought.
The money was taken.
The money was taken. And by then I was living in Nakulabi. I was sleeping today here and there. Thinking that
where you could survive.
Yeah, where I could survive.
And also you have it in mind. I'm going to the UK.
I'm going to go. I had my camera. You said I was waiting, to do functions. People knew me. I can't remember the name of the contact for the person we had to use. I've forgotten the name. Now, 2 days before the graduation in Makerere, that guy was supposed to come there and pick the camera. Okay. I think he gave us a deposit of like 20,000, and I left it with I left the camera with someone in Nakulabi.
But have you told the viewers that 300,000 of them is around 2 million of today?
It was a lot of money. It was a lot of money. Now, what happened eventually? When the day came for filming, we went there in the morning to pick the camera. It was kind of a slummy area. I had to go in. I'll skip out the names because we are kind of related. I went to the guy and I found some scattered clothes around, and he looked distressed. I asked him what was going, and he didn't know how to break the news to me.
The camera?
The camera was gone. This guy, a chapat vendor.
Money has been taken for the passport. Your second and also last resort
last resort
is also
taken.
vanished.
Yeah. And this camera wasn't stolen by an outsider. It was an inside job. It's the people I trusted. So they took the camera.
Remember, they knew you have it.
Pardon?
Remember, they knew you have it.
Yeah, of course they know.
So
Come on, I was a rebel. Now this is where I was. I was stranded. I was in the middle. I was left hung, dry, and alone. I think I slept there for 2 days, and no one could take me in anymore because I had nothing.
Because in any case, they could take you in previously because you had something.
They
you had
wanted
the money,
something.
you had
Yeah.
the camera. Here you are, you have nothing.
And the heat was on.
Nobody
now.
wants you because
My
you have
dad
nothing.
was tough. Now everyone was scared to go around with me. So they told me they couldn't help. I had to look for my sister. My sister lived in Kazo. Actually, she still lives there. I went there for 2 days. The news had already reached them. My Moko, rest in peace. He confronted me the third day, and he told me that, the way I left home,
It's not appropriate for them to harbor you.
Thank you very much. It's like you were there. So at that point, I had to leave. That's when now my mind went for my mom.
Remember, they were chasing you home to go and look for the mom, to go where she is. But then it resorted to going independent, even before reaching where they were sending you.
Now that everything was dry and everyone had gone, against me, the last resort was my mom. Mom's love. That's why.
Because you know very well she's not going to send you away.
Definitely. Now I remember I had to get a lot of energy.
Did you have a second thought of thinking whether she could also reject you?
No, not at all.
Given the fact that the dad is now at rampage
not at all. You see, my mom left me when I was 3-4 years, around that period of time, and I think I stayed for 8 years without seeing her, if I'm not mistaken. I remember the first time I saw her, it was during a burial, and someone told me that she was going to come around. I didn't know her face, but I always had a passport photo-sized photo. I had gotten it from my father's bedroom, and I used to see hanged pictures of her around. So I had a foggy image of her. But during the burial, when I saw her,
of course, the instincts and also
yes,
when you collect everything you've been seeing.
Yes, I knew this was my mom. I came running, and she cried.
Didn't you?
She cried. No, I was a kid.
You didn't cry?
What did I know?
Why I ask whether you cried for yourself? When I spent such a time without seeing my mom after the separation as well, for me, at our reunion, I cried as she was crying. So I was wondering as well whether you also cried. Because at least that we share.
Maybe I was daft a bit. I can't remember any emotions, but I was happy to see my mom. And I can't remember. I think she gave me like 200 shillings by then. So I knew she loved me. But the connection wasn't there. And I remember another incident when I had to see her. I was going to Chibuli SS. I think by then I was in senior one, going to senior 2. They gave me school fees. When I was in the city, there was that Rotary, Jada. One good day, I played it. And I lost. Yeah, I lost the school fees. How I lost it, I can't remember. The first person that came,
like this?
Yeah, the first person that came to my mind was my mom. When I went there, I explained everything to her. She was a poor lady. She used to sell matoke, banana, just a small retail shop. She had nothing, but she got that school fees and gave it to me. She gave me a good warning.
They have their own ways.
Yeah, their own ways. So I knew there was someone who I didn't see on a daily, but she was somewhere there by circumstances. She couldn't see me, but I knew deep down in my heart that she loved me.
Did you know where she was?
She was in Namugongo.
As in? for the period when you are making up your mind, everyone has rejected you now. Your father rejected you. Even your relatives, all of them, they don't want to do.
They didn't want. They didn't want to associate
because
with me.
of whatever had happened. Now, did you know where she used to stay so that
I did.
You can get?
I did.
Okay.
I did. It was in Namugongo. By then, actually, I had run out of.
Because now there are no phone calls.
Yeah, there were no phones. But good enough at our home, we had a landline. It was a
privileged home. You can't access it now.
It was a privileged home.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, there was nothing left. She was my last resort. I struggled to get transport to go there. It was all hung around me. There was nothing in my belly. And at around 10, I reached home. At her place, I mean. That was in Namugongo, Chaliwajala. I remember my sister used to go to Hassan Turabi. By then, she got leave, and she had gone to see my mom to discuss the situation, what was happening. As a rebel, I stayed home. I stayed outside just to peep, to hear. I had people talking, and they were talking.
Before you knocked?
Yeah, before I knocked. They were talking this and that, but I could hear her. And now, where is he? What has he turned into? It's been 2 weeks, this and that. And then eventually I knocked.
So you could tell from her voice that now
she was desperate. And big thanks to moms. When I knocked, everything just disappeared. Everything just disappeared. She was just happy. She cried a bit, and she asked me whether I was fine, and they had to look for something for me to eat, and that's where life started. I would say that God has got, much as we may think that we plan, God has got better plans for us. I don't know, but I can specifically say that the 2.5 years I stayed with my mom are the best years of my life. And without those 2.5 years, if I didn't have them, I don't know, God has the last say.
This is the turning point.
That was the turning point, the molding, my thinking. If I'm rude, it was because of that. If I'm kind, it was because of that. All my thinking, I've never experienced love. I've never experienced a sit-down talk with anyone,
like
face to face, and I get feelings, like real feelings, like, someone impacting you like I did in those 2.5 years. It all started like that. I explained to her what had happened. There was no turning point. I wasn't going to go back. She had nothing to do.
Did she blame you?
Of course, as a parent, she had to tell me where I had gone wrong, but she did
acknowledged it.
Of course. As a kid, your thinking is not there as well. I mean, you had reasons. My dad was doing this and that. I got fed up, and I had to do this. You try to justify.
You have all these justifications of why.
Yes, much as you may, as it's wrong, you will still feel.
This was a vivid reason for me to do.
You justify it, but as you grow up, you know that what you did.
Have you ever blamed or took into account these people that rejected you before your mom brings you in?
Taken in account as towards what?
As in, you feel like these people are very bad people. Now I don't have anything.
No.
They have all gone against me.
No, actually, I didn't have the emotions to think about it like that. When you're a child and you are tossed around, and when you have been in a situation where love is not easily given, you don't hold anyone accountable to anything that happens to you. You just take it easily. It's like that. All right, you're not welcome.
We have people that could be having seemingly similar stories that we are having here. And then once they make it out of life, alhamdulillah, they then go back to punishing whomever was in the journey. And then if at all you had a black spot in his history, whichever kind it came, you have to be punished.
I think I had the same attitude as well, but when I went to the UK, I had the opportunity to read a lot. Reading has helped me a lot. It has helped me to see life the way it is and how it should be, and how to take personal responsibility over my own life, not to blame anyone.
Okay.
Things many people lack.
Okay. But
you know, life, the moment you realize that life is 100% your personal responsibility, you will never blame anyone. No. At the moment I have money, but I don't go around helping everyone. I don't. And I expect them to be thinking like, why is he not helping me? But I was in the same situation as well. I help, but I don't help everyone. Do you understand? But those I don't help, what do they take? This guy is bad. You cannot stop it. That's how life...
Bakaluba is very mean.
That is how life is crafted. That is how life is crafted. You have got to maneuver through it in your own way. Now,
here at your mom's.
Yeah, here I am at my mom's. I very much wanted to go back to school, but I was driven by the desire
to go to the UK.
To go to the UK. It was all I could think about day in, day out.
Did you think of tracing this lady that took your money?
To do?
To trace this lady that had taken your money?
No, I was too vague. You know, they told me the stories and there was nothing I could do. there was nothing I could do. Come on, I had to let go. I was only a child.
You were a victim of scam.
Yeah, I was a victim of scam. You know, it never came out. And, you know, I think I'm just a solution-oriented person. What I could think about is how I was going to get the passport and start off again. How I went through those 2.5 years is a story that I keep in my heart. It is the story that has helped me to see people the way I see them, like the wisdom I got. You see, when you go through hard times and you are surrounded by someone who loves you and they can give you the right advice, that is the best class you need.
Because sometimes we are going through hard times, but then we are surrounded by people that are against us. At the end of the day, they are taking advantage of...
Your circumstances can make you toxic. You see, I think I was surrounded, I was protected by my mom.
Okay.
I was protected by my mom. You know, and as I said earlier on, there was nothing I could think of day in, day out, apart from going to the UK. I remember I reached a point when things were not working out. I told my mom, if I die today, please at least
unleashed your desire to
at least cut off some piece of my hair and send it to the UK, such that I can rest in peace. That is how obsessed I was. How many people are obsessed up to that point? And here I am. I was a kid and I tried to go to the UK. The passport, I don't know whether I should say this story. I tried. I went to Kenya. Things didn't work out.
You have a passport by the time you go to Kenya?
Yeah, but it's a story I don't want to publish. But trust me, it was so vague. It was so vague. I struggled. I was gotten there. I was deported back to Uganda. And there were hard times. This was now in 1999, you know, the 17-day times. You know, I had to go through the process. I was a kid, 99, I was 18 years by then. But we lost all we had during that trial of me going to the UK. When I came back, my mom told me, listen, we have got nothing left. At this point, you need to go back to school. And my big brother in the UK sent me the money. By the time the money came in...
For going back to school?
Yeah, there was another deal of going to the UK. My middle brother was the one in it. I said to my mom, listen, this is a struggle. We need to fight and finish up to the end. Get my school fees and pay it towards the guy who's helping my brother to go to the UK. And we start off from there. He said, no, this money is supposed to be for school fees. I said, I've made up my decision. We are going to use this money.
If you put it to school, I won't go.
I won't go.
But here I will go,
yeah.
if you put it for the
I said. And she said, okay, I'll call your siblings. She called the siblings, and they made a small gathering.
Okay.
She explained to them that they sent me money for his school fees, and I want you to witness what he's saying, the decision he's making. And vocally they asked me what my decision was, and I clearly stated that I'm not going back to school. We are going to use that money to help.
The dream should come alive.
Yeah, the dream should come alive. I saw no future, not at all. All I wanted was one of us to go, like one of us who knows the struggle, because the other one who was already in the UK, he had been there.
He was detached.
He was detached because he went in '86. So he didn't know exactly what we were facing.
15 years, he couldn't tell what is taking
he couldn't tell. So we needed someone fresh, someone who could help us. And polygamous families, there are fights which are going on. Sure. There was that battle between the mom and the dad and the kids. It was there.
The mom from the
So it was the battle of the survival. Which family is going to make it out? We are not going to take it. We are not going to be losers. So we are fighting for ourselves, and that's how I made the decision that I'm not going back. But still, unfortunately, when my brother tried, it was the same story.
Money vanished.
We lost the cash. Good enough, he was still at my dad's. I was this side. But I was the guy who took out my mom's capital. Every day I was coming up with a good deal. This one is going to work out. This one is going to work out. I've heard about this guy all the time. And she used to ask me, what are you going to do in the town today? You were there yesterday. All the money we have for the capital, for the business, you are taking it. Deep down in my heart, I knew that if there was going to be a bright day, that bright day was not going to find me home sleeping. It was going to find me fighting.
You should be in the city.
That is it.
Towards the dream.
That is it. So I used to go there, and all I needed was the money to take me to the city. How I come out?
So you come around the city and then...
Yeah, you gallivant around, you go to the poster. There's this person who has ideas. There was a guy called Isma Kamlega. He had all the ideas. Just to sit down with him, hear him talk about, the ideas and how people have gone. Only that could motivate me, and I would love to come back the following day. So he had ideas. Who to connect you to.
Who will help?
So I couldn't let the fire go out. So it was upon me to be coming to the city.
So long as you get to the city.
That is it.
Every day.
And how I go out, I used to know a few people in different corners. I know today I went to you and I begged for 1,000. Tomorrow I'm not going to come. I think by then the only transport you needed was like 800 to go back to Chaliwajala, but that was a struggle. At times you could get like 300, and 300 could take you up to
somewhere. Then you start walking.
Yeah, no, actually that one could take you to Ntinda. Okay. Then from Ntinda you could walk via Nalia, Valley Point, where you see Vienna right now, and halas, I was in Chaliwajala. Yeah. As long as I can get the 100 I needed for popcorns, I was done.
Because the popcorns going to help you
walk around. And I had my friend Jalilu, if it's at night, he used to escort me. You sleep, and then the following day you plan how to go back again. Beautiful. You don't have a plan, but at least you have. And I did that for 2.5 years. But one thing I knew, I took out all my mom's capital. And there was a school.
You drained?
Yeah, I drained it. There was a school called Crested. She went there, applied for a job to supply lunch. She used to make katogo, take it there during lunchtime, and used to stay at the shop. Yeah, to sell it during that time. But I used to feel real ashamed as a teenager. And even leaving me at the shop to sell mobisi, it wasn't making it up for me. You see, the girls just go past you.
To be in the UK,
the dream was in the head, but the results were not tallying up.
The dream was already settled in the mind was already settled in the UK.
I was
they want your body.
I was a UK guy, but eventually things didn't work out, and we defaulted on rent. That shop was for my uncle Walusimbi. You know, they had to go around. They had to devise a plan on how to
Mitigate that.
like how to get us out. You know, it was family, but come on, we had defaulted. And ask me how much the rent was.
How much?
15,000.
15,000.
15,000, and I think we had defaulted for like 6 months. I don't mean to be rude to them, but they had to come up with an idea.
With a plan.
Yeah, that the bank was repossessing the property, and
I know those stories. Normally they are fabricated.
and we had to get out. Yeah, and that was it. We had to get a few things we had and go back home. So now all our energy was looking up to our brother who was in the UK to look after us. You know, it was draining. Now he was the one paying school fees for all my other siblings. It was getting really rough on him. And his wife by then didn't take it lightly. She was really pissed, and she wanted us to cut ties because we were milking them. And I think the pressure was too much on him. You know, we kind of distanced. And I remember there was a deal we had to make for me to go. You know, it didn't go properly. Some of the money was returned, and I used some of the money. So I gave them a reason to detach, you know. That was life.
They were looking for a stock, and then you gave it to them.
Yeah, every day was becoming my mom's problem. So we went to a point where I think it was us against the world. We had to go back home, start off afresh. You know, she had like 50 decimals of land with a small house, 2-bedroom and 1 small sitting room. Nothing in there. That house still stands up to now. Yeah, we said we'll never put it down for remembrance. And when I went there, all she had in the
Alhamdulillah, it was also a strong house.
It was a strong house. And
No, it is still standing.
I remember when I went there, it was only jerrycans in there and her bed. So when I went back to my dad, I used to steal, you know,
Some stuff to come
to fill up.
fill the
I
house.
remember towards the death of my mom when my dad came to see her, because you know they had to involve her in the end. I think much of the stuff he found there belonged to his household.
And you could wonder how.
Yeah, he could see it.
How did things reach here?
Yeah, I was the rat. I was the rat, you know, which slowly took everything out. So we stayed there for all those years, and you know, we ran out of cash. You know, our brother tried, but things didn't. You know, we are not working out well. You know, I had, you know, opted out of school. There was no future for me, but you know, I still didn't give up on the struggle.
The dream is there. You have
The
to be
dream
in
was
UK.
still there, and I held it for 2.5 years. 2.5 years.
Now you were kicked out of, let me say, the kiosk where you were with the mom.
Yeah, we were kicked
Here,
out.
are you back
Yeah,
in the
there
home?
was
Then
nothing.
Home.
Yeah,
you tried
yeah.
with your brother.
Yeah.
You've given them a reason to dwell with you because
Yeah, now we resorted to planting our own food, which was rumonde, cassava. You know, matoke doesn't come out quickly, so actually it took me some years to eat rumonde again. Sweet potato, because we ate it on a daily, today, tomorrow, and the other day. Today, tomorrow, and the other day. It was all
This
we
was
had.
a daily meal.
Yeah, it was a daily meal with come
without option, of course, because
on. Without option. It was a tough moment. It was a tough story, if I could say. That is why I always resonate with the people who have got nothing. I remember, Jacob, one day, my mom had ulcers, and you know, she was tired of eating the cabbages, you know, the things we are eating on a daily.
You're having cabbage and potato every day.
She found herself starving, and she had those stomach ulcers, and she started crying at night. And when I asked her, she said to me that, you know, she told me what was wrong, and you know what can heal that? According to what we knew, it was milk, and we didn't have the milk.
You didn't have the money.
We didn't have the
To
money,
get the milk.
yeah, to get the milk, and I had to get out of the house. I think it was around 3 a.m. in the morning. I went to my uncle. My uncle, he was a neighbor, and I went there. Uncle Majid, he's gone now, rest in peace. And I knocked. You know, they had a child, a baby child.
Definitely, we expect them to have milk.
They had milk, so they gave me a glass of milk. Up to now, I still call that lady the lady with the glass of milk.
You are indebted to them.
I am indebted to them. Up to now,
How saved your mom?
we are close friends.
that's
I took that glass of milk. But there's certain things in life that never leaves you. There's certain moments.
You know, you were just 18. This scenario comes to your mind. You were a boy child, because what you're talking about, normally it is a girl child to think that way. What comes to your mind to say, now let me go and try uncle, and I tell them that I need this milk?
Desperate times, cause you had to do it.
Yes, I understand, but then
It was a swim or die situation. Come on, what was left there? And actually, he was a good uncle to us. You know, he was the only person I could run to. Good enough, they had the milk. But as I said earlier on, it is such situations that never leaves you as a person. You see, you face poverty. You face it, and you understand it. You see, the small things we take for granted, others are fighting so hard to have them. Now a glass of milk. Today, if I was born with what I have right now, that would be unimaginable. How can someone lack a glass of milk? But I tasted it. I didn't have it. Now, I remember another situation. I kept on coming up with all the ideas. I told my mom, with this piece of land, we can, you know, cut off some and
we sell.
Yeah, and we
That's
sell.
how you can get to
Yeah, and actually, my mom knew that I was kind
did
of.
you have it in your mind that whichever money I've put through a loss in my password to get to the UK, my mom's money, for the day when it happens for me to get to the UK, I'll have to first work and pay off this money back.
I had
Was it a driving factor
I had
for
it,
you to devise all these plans to have?
I had it at the back of my mind, and my mom trusted me, and there was a situation where she had to tell me this. When I was still at my dad's, they called us. We had a landline at home, and they told us that my mom was sick. Remember, I didn't know her well growing up, but the fact that she was my mom, I remember I left home at around 8, you know, when dad was already, you know, gone inside to sleep. They were already inside the house. And I had to gather transport to go and see her. My mom, they said it was genes, this and that. And she was at my uncle in Chalwajala, uncle called Harun. I went there, I spent a night. And all I did the whole night, I just recited Quran for her. That was all. In the morning at around 5, I woke up and I walked back home in Ntinda. Now,
At least we had it in that at least I've done my part.
that is one thing. That is one thing. When I was still at Chibuli SS, senior 1, I told my mom that I'm going to build for you a house. During my holiday, I lied to my dad that because we came in late, they are not releasing us for holidays. I went to my mom's and I started making soil bricks, clay. All right? That was already the education that I wanted to build for her rentals because she had the land. By then I was around 15, 16 years.
So you mobilize your energy to go and...
To do that, for a child to be dedicated and carry out such acts, for a parent, I didn't even know.
Whichever thought you had for her, you were trying your best to
try my best. I remember I couldn't finish it because there was a heavy downpour, and I wanted to make the soil during the rainpour, you know, the running water. And after a day, I got malaria. She got scared and she told me to go back home. Yeah, she stopped me from that and I had to go. And after years, those bricks were still there. I wanted to build her rentals. Do you get it? Now, during those 2.5 years, I came up with a plan telling her that, we need to sell off some of the land, get the money. It's going to help us. I came up with all the ideas. I used to come up with all ideas. She knew that, I had something in the brain. But they sold that piece of land without telling me, because they knew that if I knew there was money, I was going to come up with fresh ideas every day and spoil it. So she started giving me money slowly by slowly. And, there was a guy, he's still there. I find him in the city. He told me that he's going to help me. I think he took something like 1.5, and that piece of land we sold it at 1.3. So he took almost all the money. How it went to ruins, I can't tell the whole story because it will be too long. I didn't go. Now, I was scared for those days. Now, one day when we were walking, going back home, I started talking to my mom, asking for forgiveness for what had happened. And I remember she stopped and looked at me. And she said, I left you when you were 3 years old. I didn't look after you. And when I got sick, of all my children, you are the only one who turned up. You stayed with me, prayed with me the whole night, and then in the morning you went back to your father. You don't know how heavy that is to a parent. I'll never pay you for that. You get it? Say that was so heavy as a parent. I don't think I'll ever pay you for that.
She had it in her.
She had it in her.
That she's indebted to.
She remembered, she told me how I left school, fighting to build for her a house, and I fell sick. And for those 2 incidents, given the history of the 2 of us, she said there was nothing she could do for me. And she told me, don't worry about that. It's only money.
That's the mother.
That's the mother.
That's your pillar.
That is it. That is it. So she kept on losing, but she was determined to see that I lived a good life.
She was okay with the loss. For so long as she's losing.
Yes, she was okay with the loss. She was okay with the loss. And we lost that money, and still another plan came up for me to go to the UK again.
The dream was not yet come.
Not yet.
But it is kept alive.
Kept alive. And then the last thing she had to do...
Where is your dad in all this? Where is your other family in all this?
Separated. Remember those days when the dad said, yeah. You became total strangers.
I understand, but then they know you have a plan to go to the UK.
Yeah, I was consumed with it. And actually,
they know
even my
mad about it.
Yeah, and even my own from my mom, at times they could look at me like a destructive force. I was wasting all the resources we had. I was the last born. So I would say that I was loved. So I was spoiling everything. But one thing I know, my mom knew that I had the brains. I had the brains. I could work out things. I come up with all these ideas. We have got the invitation. There's this seminar. At my age, there was nothing like girls, this and that. For me, I had one girlfriend by then. And by then, the times were so bad that we had separated. And good enough after like almost 30 years, she's still the same woman I'm with. Now, things didn't work out, and now I came for the last plan. And the last
Do you
plan-
have it in you that this is my last attempt?
Of course, because now here we had to give someone our land title to give us money. Money lender.
Of course, this should be the last plan.
Yeah, my mom went with it. My mom went with it. I remember this guy is called Sekalega. You know, we are related. And he told us to come. We wanted 2 million. There was this guy who was going to take me. We only needed 2 million. And he told us, come, I'll give you the money. You bring the title. And when he goes, he'll pay some interest. We agreed. We were supposed to meet at 4. He didn't turn up to around 7 p.m. I remember when he came, he sat down with his socks up. I could see the money was there. You know, those days they used to keep the money there. And of milk.
You are indebted to them.
I am indebted to them. Up to now,
saved your mom
we are close friends. I
moment.
took that glass of milk. But there's certain things in life that never leaves you. There's certain
Hajj,
moments.
You know, you were just 18. This scenario comes to your mind. You were a boy child, because what you're talking about, normally it is a girl child to think that way. What comes to your mind to say, now let me go and try uncle, and I tell them that I need this milk?
Desperate times, cause you had to do it.
Yes, I understand, but then
It was a swim or die situation. Come on, what was left there? And actually, he was a good uncle to us. You know, he was the only person I could run to. Good enough, they had the milk. But as I said earlier on, it is such situations that never leaves you as a person. You see, you face poverty. You face it, and you understand it. You see, the small things we take for granted, others are fighting so hard to have them. Now a glass of milk. Today, if I was born with what I have right now, that would be unimaginable. How can someone lack a glass of milk? But I tasted it. I didn't have it. Now, I remember another situation. I kept on coming up with all the ideas. I told my mom, with this piece of land, we can, you know, cut off some and
we sell.
Yeah, and we
That
sell.
I can get to the
yeah, and actually, my mom knew that I was kind.
Did you have it in your mind that whichever money I've put to a loss in my pursuit to get to the UK, my mom's money, for the day when it happens for me to get to the UK, I'll have to first work and pay off this money back? Was it a driving factor for you to devise all these plans to her?
I had it at the back of my mind, and my mom trusted me, and there was a situation where she had to tell me this. When I was still at my dad's, they called us. We had a landline at home, and they told us that my mom was sick. Remember, I didn't know her well growing up, but the fact that she was my mom, I remember I left home at around 8, you know, when dad was already, you know, gone inside to sleep. They were already inside the house, and I had to gather transport to go and see her. My mom, they said it was genes, this and that, and she was at my uncle in Chalwajala, uncle called Harun. I went there, I spent a night, and all I did the whole night, I just recited Quran for her. That was all. In the morning at around 5, I woke up and I walked back home in Ntinda. Now,
at least we had it in that at least I've done my part.
That is one thing. That is one thing. When I was still at Chibuli SS, senior 1, I told my mom that I'm going to build for you a house. During my holiday, I lied to my dad that because we came in late, they are not releasing us for holidays. I went to my mom's and I started making soil bricks, clay. All right? That was already the education that I wanted to build for her rentals because she had the land. By then I was around 15, 16 years.
So you mobilize your energy to go and...
To do that. For a child to be dedicated and carry out such acts, For a parent, I didn't even know.
Whichever thought you had for her, you could try your best to
try my best. I remember I couldn't finish it because there was a heavy downpour, and I wanted to make the soil during the rainpour, the running water. And after a day, I got malaria. She got scared and she told me to go back home. She stopped me from that, and I had to go. And after years, those bricks were still there. I wanted to build her rentals. Do you get it? Now, during those 2.5 years, I came up with a plan telling her that, we need to sell off some of the land, get the money. It's going to help us. I came up with all the ideas. I used to come up with all ideas. She knew that, I had something in the brain. But they saw that piece of land without telling me, because they knew that if I knew there was money, I was going to come up with fresh ideas every day and spoil it. So she started giving me money slowly by slowly. And there was a guy, he's still there. I find him in the city. He told me that he's going to help me. I think he took something like 1.5, and that piece of land we sold it at 1.3. So he took almost all the money. How it went to ruins, I can't tell the whole story because it will be too long. I didn't go. Now, I was scared for those days. Now, one day when we were walking, going back home, I started talking to my mom, asking for forgiveness for what had happened. And I remember she stopped and looked at me. And she said, I left you when you were 3 years old. I didn't look after you. And when I got sick, of all my children, you are the only one who turned up. You stayed with me, prayed with me the whole night, and then in the morning you went back to your father. You don't know how heavy that is to a parent. I'll never pay you for that. You get it? Say that was so heavy as a parent. I don't think I'll ever pay you for that.
She had it in her.
She had it in her.
That she's indebted to.
She remembered. She told me how I left school, coming, fighting to build for her a house, and I fell sick. And for those 2 incidents, given the history of the 2 of us, she said there was nothing she could do for me. And she told me, don't worry about that. It's only money.
That's the mother.
That's the mother.
That's your pillar.
That is it. That is it. So she kept on losing, but she was determined to see that I lived a good life.
She was okay with the loss. For so long as she's losing.
Yes, she was okay with the loss. She was okay with the loss. And we lost that money, and still another plan came up for me to go to the UK again.
The dream was not yet come true.
Not yet.
But it is kept alive.
Kept alive. And then the last thing she had to do...
Where is your dad in all this? Where is your other family in all this?
Separated. Remember those days when the dad said, you became total strangers.
I understand, but then they know you have a plan to go to the UK.
Yeah, I was consumed with it. And
And
actually,
they know you
even
were
my
mad about it.
Yeah, and even my own from my mom, at times they could look at me like a destructive force. I was wasting all the resources we had. I was the last born. So I would say that I was loved. So I was spoiling everything. But one thing I know, my mom knew that I had the brains. I had the brains. I could work out things. I come up with all these ideas. We have got the invitation. There's this seminar. At my age, there was nothing like girls this and that. You know, for me, I had one girlfriend by then, and by then the times were so bad that we had separated, and good enough after like almost 30 years, she's still the same woman I'm with.
Mashallah.
Now, things didn't work out, and now I came for the last plan. And the last
Do you
plan,
have it in you that this is my last attempt?
of course, because now here we had to give someone our land title to give us money. Money lender.
Of course, this should be the last plan.
Yeah, my mom went with it. My mom went with it. I remember this guy is called Sekalega. You know, we are related. And he told us to come. We wanted 2 million. There was this guy who was going to take me. We only needed 2 million. And he told us, come, I'll give you the money. You bring the title. And when he goes, he will pay some interest. We agreed. We were supposed to meet at 4. He didn't turn up to around 7 p.m. I remember when he came, he sat down with his socks up. I could see the money was there. You know, those days they used to keep the money there. And, you know, I was all happy knowing.
Because you could see something.
Yeah. You know, he asked for the land title. He looked at it, and I think on his way coming, he had spoken to someone. And they advised him that it's not a good idea to lend money to family. It's not going to end well. And I saw him starting to tell us these ideas, how we could go to the bank, this and that. And I'm like, no, you told us to come and get the money. But he told us, no, this is what I'm advising you to do. You can go to the bank, you get the money, and the things will work out. I got mad. My mom got mad.
The man has kept you waiting up to 7 p.m.
But a poor person, you don't get mad. Even your madness will never be recognized by anyone. It's just you
In
are
fact, you're just making it worse for yourself.
You are just crazy.
You're distracting yourself.
Your emotions are never respected. And Hajj told me, let us pray Isha'i and then we'll leave. After praying, we went, and I remember we were walking down towards Kaleri. We all kept quiet as we walked.
I can imagine the situation.
It was all quiet. We were all thinking.
In fact, even if there are cars moving around,
we were just
you couldn't hear them.
We were just walking, and my mom fell into the pothole. Kind of. I remember that moment up to now. Even when I'm doing my seminars, I talk about it. And when she got her footing back again, she said to me the following words. Yes, omuntu akuvumanga nti oli mwavu ne bw'atakwongerako birala aba akuvumye byonna. When someone calls you poor, they don't need to say anything else abusive wise. They have said everything.
Everything is abusive has been told to you.
Yeah.
If at all they say
a poor person has got no brains, you have got no opinion, like you are just there just to clap for others. You have no opinion, no respect whatsoever.
Because you have it that everything we have with us, it is a resource. Once you are poor, you don't have even everything you're talking about.
There's nothing.
Presumably.
No, not at all. Not at all. No single fiber of respect in your body. Nothing.
So she tells you this.
She tells me that. And, you know, now we are even counting the transport we used to go. And what can you do? It is such moments that lived with me all those years. And one thing I will tell people even up to now, whatever happens to you, make sure that it doesn't go to your heart. It goes to your brain. With your heart, it's the emotions. To the brain, it's logic.
devise plans of how to make use of
how to get use of it. And whatever happened to me, I would say it went to my heart. But when I went to the UK during the security job I was doing for those years, I read a lot of books. Those were days before the internet, but I was reading. I was obsessed when it comes to reading. And I got a lot of information. It helped me to find myself as a person. And the best revenge was success. I remember how everyone used to
move across.
They used to move away from me because I was painted as that rebellious child who had stolen the father's property, who had opted out of school, who had no future. I was a destructive force.
You have now disturbed the mom.
But my destruction was not destruction in its sense. It was just being ambitious. I never took any money or sold off any person's property to go to disco or to buy a new set of
You were in
trousers.
pursuit of the
Pursuit
good
of
cause.
a good cause. Do you get it? Which normally people at my age don't do.
True. Money is taken away from people, but then you are putting it to bad causes.
I can tell you, I don't know how people have lived their lives. I told people that in my life, up to date, if you ask me where Angenois is, Silk, I wouldn't even tell which street. I lived in UK for 19 years. People used to go to Paya 1, Kabira. Up to now,
You don't know them.
I don't know them.
This is how focused you are.
The thing is, I grew up with my dad, an old man already.
You come back at 10, he's asking you where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Sparks
So,
your-
being that I was left by my mom at that age, I was always with him. So I was picking up the traits, the behaviors from him, behaving like I was already grown up. Do you get it? And after that, who comes my best friend? My mom.
True.
So it was always people with like in a totally different age bracket to mentor me. So I never saw myself as a child. I just wanted to
You
achieve.
have no room to be away from your mom at the end of the day.
No, not at all.
So here you are sloping down. She puts her foot into this pot and all that. She tells you these words.
And it was the end of it. I mean, we made a lot of attempts to go. You know, most of them I wouldn't go into details, but I can tell that money vanished and we were left with nothing. And eventually, 2001, I remember it was during the campaigns when Kiza Besigye came up the first time. People were going around dancing the Dodis. I got my visa. It was so shocking after many times to the point that they
Since
had
1996.
they threw
say.
no since 99.
Yes.
They threw a big party for me. I was the unlucky person.
It was worth it.
It was worth it.
Indeed,
And
it was worth it.
and during those years, I'm thankful that I had the time to stay with my mom. I got really molded into the person I am today. I got the chance to test what they call love. Something I never had before. I grew up in a big family where where it was just survival. People were just living there.
There was no concentration for love.
No concentration whatsoever. But in those years, when I go back home at 10, I would find my mom seated there,
Waiting for you.
waiting for me.
Her son.
And it is something I never saw growing up, that someone would actually be worried about my well-being. So that was part of it. And she was a good friend of mine. We discussed, you know.
You could tell her what happened during the day.
Listen.
How the city's been.
So I learned how to communicate. I knew what a parent's love can mean to a child. Up to today, I think good enough. You know my kids.
Yeah.
You know
And I know how
attentive
you are to
how
their
attentive I am to them. How we
well-being.
bond. You know, there were years when I was tough. Now they're my good friends. I've already molded them into.
And
what
even
I
the tough bit of it was to
straighten them.
put
Yeah,
them to
there
standards.
comes a time in life where a child needs the toughness because they mentally they are not grown to just receive words.
Yeah.
They just have to get some punishment. But when they grow up, now they can understand. You start talking to them. They are my friends, and I want
I
them.
attest to that.
Yes, thank you. I want them to feel me as a father, but most of it as a friend.
As a friend.
Because I knew.
And this is what you received from your mom.
That's what I received. And I was so lucky when I went to the UK. I went to the UK Tuesday. Yakubu, I got a job on a Thursday.
Wow.
I was only...
Was it an arrangement?
Yeah, I found there was someone there who was going for an interview, and I was just lucky enough to, to come in at that given point, and I took up the interview because he had already gotten another job.
Okay.
And I was just lucky. Within 2 weeks, I got my first pay. I think it was around £200. That was a lot. I can tell you face to face, the third week of me being in the UK, I started a house for my mom, a 3-bedroom house.
Third week?
In the third week.
People normally, they have it with them.
In the third week, I can put this on record. Not
This is when you think about...
Not Sengediro, 3-bedroom house.
This is when you
with
think
a garage.
about putting your mama.
Because now I had gotten the job. I had already...
You know you'll do it.
Yes. This is why I keep on teaching people about goals and being focused. Certain things happen and people think that things happen by chance. I tell people that prepare...
You must be deliberate.
You must be deliberate. Wait for a chance, because success needs to meet a prepared mind. If you are not prepared, you will see the opportunity, but because you are unprepared, the unpreparedness in your brain will make you not process the advantage before your eyes.
That is before you.
Do you get it?
True.
And I started off within three months, we are ready to roof the house.
Wow. Single-handedly?
Single-handedly. If I got some help,
you are paying.
My siblings can tell, they just joined in. And in those 3 months, I had taken my girlfriend. And I was working on bringing my 2 sisters. 3 months.
Because this was the mission in the beginning.
This was the mission.
When I get there, I have to pull back.
I always tell people, anytime you get money, make sure that that money has got a name. Because money without a name is money for everything.
Money
has got to have a name.
Can you repeat it for us to appreciate it?
Money, each and every money you receive, make sure by the time you receive it, it has already gotten a name.
Okay.
If we had to go out today and tomorrow I have to pay for my kids' tuition, I'll say no. But you ask me, but you have the money. I'll say, no, this is not my money.
It is for my kids' tuition.
Thank you. It is money.
You've already labeled it.
You have already labeled it.
If at all this tuition comes and you haven't yet labeled it,
it will take.
Of course, you also can't tell this money is for what.
It's for everything. Do you get it? So
impliedly, you just have to
by this point, all the money I got had a name. It had a purpose.
This is money for my mama's house.
Yes, it's not that people who don't do things don't have money. They have money, but they lack guidance. They have no direction in life whatsoever. They are just working for the sake of it. People have gone abroad to work, but they just went there because they have seen others go. And that's why they start off with expensive houses and cars, liabilities from the word go.
Okay.
Do you get it? And people started going to my mom for advice. What are our kids going to do? We understand your boy is doing this. Can you help
But
us?
this is the mother that was mocked around to be with a child who is a rebel.
I'm saying this, everything is on record. And I'm glad I've got the video cassettes. If before you publish this, I can give you some of the videos and you share it. But I was unlucky. It was God's plan that after 3 months, my mom started getting sick. I stopped the construction and I started looking after her. Her health. You know, we took her to good hospitals. We took her to Makindye. There was a good doctor. They looked after her really properly. I was sending the cash proper. I remember on Thursday I spoke to her and she was asking me about my then girlfriend who had taken, and I said to her she's sick, and she was like, what's wrong? I said she's pregnant. And I said, okay, if the baby is a girl, you name her after me. And I said, okay, I'll do, but I've got to let you rest. I know you're sick. She said, I'm fine.
So you Hajj Mariam son?
Yeah, and that was the last conversation we had. Wow. The following day she couldn't talk, and the follow-up day she died. Remember, I was at work at around 5. I received the phone call from my brother, and that was it. I still remember the words. Yasin, mama afudde. It was hard.
How do you receive the news?
I was in a place called Belvedere. It is an isolated place.
That the person that made you who you are.
It was an isolated place. It was a warehouse. I would say it was a village. And actually, I went out in a heap of bricks, sat down, and I screamed. I started making phone calls. They said, Anya Mugambi, who has told him? I think she had died like 30 minutes ago, and they didn't want to tell me. So I topped up, I topped up my phone, and I made a phone call, and I spoke to my sister who was here, called Nur. She said, yeah, she's here. We are just making her ready. She's gone. What would
Mommy
we do?
was normal.
In 6 months.
At the time when she had...
By then, I had started roofing the house.
I can imagine the plans you had for her.
That's the pain that will never leave me. Up to now.
Have you ever thought about passing it on? To pass on?
To pass on the what?
If I didn't do it to her, for her, maybe...
I've done many things secretly. Because the agreement was between me and her and God. That's where it stays.
Mashallah.
That's the kind of pain. And where I am right now, I would say that I got everything I dreamt of 10 times. The one thing I didn't get was to pay that woman.
Rightly.
That's the only thing I felt, but the rest God gave it to me. I don't regret everything because He plans and He decides. So,
here you are in the UK, Haji. May Mama's soul rest in peace.
Good enough. I told you I had a baby girl, so the baby girl is my mom right now. Now she's 22 years. So you can see, my mom has been gone for 22 years. True. But
now I connect the love you have for her.
She's my mom. She's my mom.
Mashallah. Well, Haji, now you are in the UK. Your pillar is gone. Your sense of direction, if I may say, somewhat has got to be tampered with her loss, because she had a very big place. I presume she had a very big place in your plans. Here she is. She's now gone. What do you do?
I had to soldier on as a person. I remember
because We have people, before you give us this answer, who work for, say, I am leaving because of Hajj Yasin Bakaluba, my dad.
Oh, yeah.
Then here comes time, my dad, Allah takes him. I start feeling like whatever I'm doing doesn't make sense anymore because this, my dad was the sense of direction for what I'm doing. Here he is now, he's gone. Why should I soldier on the way I've got
Yeah,
to
she
soldier on?
was my energy. She was my energy, and actually I saw blank. There was nothing to live for. But I remember she was buried on Saturday.
You didn't bury her?
No. I had only just gone. I didn't have the papers. Actually, on Monday I was arrested because I didn't have the papers. They took me to detention where I stayed for the next 2 weeks. So my rumbe was somewhere in Oakington.
Your mom is buried on Saturday. You were arrested on Monday.
On Monday. People who used to come, they were looking for me. Where's this guy?
I'm sorry to laugh.
That's life.
Life is funny. Had you arrested?
Yeah, on Monday.
On Monday. You are now starting life without the mom.
Yeah, but I was.
Whom I would say your sense of direction.
Yeah, but I was determined not to come back because I knew there was nothing here left for me. And
good enough. Now you have a family.
Yeah.
That is coming up. Your wife, your baby that is coming.
Yeah, and but I was
whom you are waiting anxiously to name Mariam.
Yeah, I think now I was 20.
Okay.
And my missus was 18. And at this point, actually, I was just waiting for the baby. That was my only hope. But the struggle was too much. I was living in my brother's extra room, which was supposed to be a store. You know, they just put in.
He welcomed you?
Yeah, he welcomed me.
Okay.
It was a small store.
Because we have the other story when they do.
No, he did the best.
Okay.
He did the best. But I mean, people can give you the only the life necessities, not luxuries. They can give you somewhere to sleep, but not the Lorex to put on. So I appreciate that. Really, I'm appreciative of him. My only hope now was the child to come along, and you know, I went around with it. The following year, around March, we had the child.
Well, was there any supporting factor from your missus at a time when you've lost somebody you held so dear at your heart, given the fact that you are in a foreign land?
Actually, she was in a system. She wasn't even with me. Settlement system is so hard. She, you know, we could only communicate on the phone, and herself, she was missing her parents as well. She was a child. She was only 19. She was only 18 and pregnant. So it was chaos. But I mean,
so you are facing this trauma without anybody to support you.
I wouldn't take it as trauma. I'm just a strong-hearted person. You know, it was heartbreaking. Those days I used to cry myself to sleep. You know it. And actually, after the detention, I had gathered some money. Because I wasn't giving it to anyone. I was now able to rent myself a room. I remember it was 215, somewhere called
Did you finish Mama's house? Because she dies at a time when you haven't
we did.
Okay.
We did together. We finished it. And I slept in that small room of mine, but you know, going to work, coming back to an empty room, you know, you cry yourself to sleep. You cry yourself to sleep. And I struggled for a year. I remember I spoke to a guy. He was like in his 60s. I remember his name was Teddy. Time had passed and I was still crying almost on a daily. I asked him, "Do you have your mom?" He said, "No." I said, "Have you lost? When did you lose her?"
So that you can relate, maybe.
Yeah, I can relate. And he told me it takes time. It takes time, you know, like a few months. And you know, this was some time, and I was crying on a daily. I couldn't take it. I think it took me over a year, and I used to cry every day. And the thing that made me let go, thank God, I happened to get my papers so quickly, and I came back.
With this year, did you see a difference from, the dream you had, now facing the reality?
No, I was working so hard because I was scared. Remember, I was a kid. I couldn't go back to my dad. My mom was gone. So it was me.
You against?
Me against the world. And now responsibility was coming. I'm going to share all of this. You put it as insights. I had my first child when I was a child as well.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I happened to get my papers. I came back to Uganda after a year. And visiting my mom's grave gave me the closure. So
your grief.
Yeah. I kept on thinking that she was there. When I came back and I didn't see her.
What?
Yeah, it sounds abnormal, but before you see the grave, there was something in there. I tell you, there was a story. My uncle.
You kept a year thinking maybe by the time you come back to Uganda,
maybe she's there.
Maybe they are creating stories for me to
I had an uncle of mine called Warusimbi. Had a child. The wife left the child behind, and he went somewhere at the shop to buy something. Didn't find the child there. Called my mom. They were looking for the child. The neighbor came and picked the child anyway, and he just went around. And hanging lines. He started checking
for the child.
For the child, my mom up to that point still told the story. That I looked at my brother like, how can you look for a child in clothes, hanging clothes? How is that even plausible? You see, when you are in a certain situation, at times logic goes out. I'm telling you that story because of what you told me. I knew she was dead, but. Like you
just wanted certainty and confirmation.
Yeah, when I came in, went to have grave, and that's how I let go.
You confirmed with your
heart. I confirmed with myself that it's a done deal. It's a done deal. Now I had to start my own family. The second year I came back, I went for Hajj. Actually, I went for my Hajj when I was 21, 22.
Wow.
Around there, yeah.
How do you make up your mind? Because we have it, I have to fast wait when I'm like maybe 40, that's when I should go for Hajj. This money I have to use it for building myself and all that.
That's why I'm telling people about brains. What I did is not what I read, it's what I saw. I grew up with an old man, Haji. So my desires were different from a normal child of my age. What I was exposed, yes, what I was exposed to is what I held dearly. I saw how it felt
to be a
Hajj. So immediately when I got the money, it was my task. I remember I went with Chimpi. Chimpi's group. I was a child. I even went with my camcorder. They used to call this guy from the UK with the camcorder. I was a baby. But yeah, I made my first Hajj. That was 2002. I think 2002, 2003, 2002. Yeah, those are some of the dreams, some of the things I wanted. And at the age of 19, actually immediately after the passing of my dad or of my mom, I started my first house, my first rentals. There were 6 units. And I was still a teenager. I was only coming to my 20s.
So the reality dream of you being who you are today, of being a real estate person, it's not an idea you develop.
It is something
at a later stage, but it is
something I grew up seeing. Yeah, by the time I came to my senses, my dad wasn't working, but they used to tell us stories, how he used to go to Congo, how he used to have a garage. But despite the fact that now he wasn't working, we all were going to good schools. He was driving. He used to go to Hajj.
You talked about Chibuli, and I'm like,
yeah,
where are these people?
Good schools. Taiba. All my siblings were going to good schools. My dad wasn't educated, but he valued education. Now, looking at it from that way, I was asking the important questions. Where does this person get the money? He used to wake up at the time he wanted. And I saw it. I saw tenants bringing in money. So I would say that I was corrupted positively. I saw and I wanted that freedom. And immediately the first check I got after building my mom's
completing it, your mom's house?
I started my first house. Before completing the first house, I went for Hajj. Then I came back to complete my first unit. And immediately I started getting the passive income. And all years, now imagine starting the journey in 2000. If I tell you that I've been doing the same thing for over 20 years, where do people get the objections that the tenacity, the resilience, the persistence, the belief in my dream is not true? That my dream has got loopholes. We were we were buying plots of land in Chisas for 3 million. Now, how much is a plot in Chisas? And I've got this all documented. The plots, we were buying them 3 million.
I know them.
There isn't much we did, but
along the road.
Yes.
In fact.
And time is a time factor. That's why even when I'm teaching people, I'm not using anything written down. I always use my experience. That
your own story.
Yes, if you do the right thing at the right time, the right things will happen to you. Today, if I told someone to go to Zirobe Road, buy a piece of land there for 5 million, a young man today is going to say no. It's in the village.
What can I do there?
What can I do there? But the same person after 20 years will be struggling.
His children is going to be asking where
they will be struggling to buy a piece of land there. There's no magic in this. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. The thing is, land does not produce, but people do.
Yeah, true. So they have to fill the land.
You have to check the census today and see the increment.
Could be around 45. 40,
the need
44.
is there. The need is there. It doesn't matter where you buy. I've been preaching it to people. Actually, in my last seminars, I've been telling people how to invest for their own children right now. And I came up with this theory that whoever goes in real estate, if your target is to get 10 million, and that 10 million is just enough for you and to take your family around, stop at that. Stop the construction. Now you're getting the cash flow. If you want to do something for your child, someone who is 2, 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, don't buy for them land in Chanja. Get that money, which will be now like 200, to buy a 50 by 100
in Chanja.
Go somewhere where you can buy an acre for 20 million.
True.
Buy 10 acres and leave it there. If your intention is to invest for that child is going to need that piece of land in the next coming 20 years.
20 years.
You don't know.
And generations change by 20 years.
You don't know what kind of change that piece of land will see in 20 years.
True.
You need to go back and look at SARS 20 years ago. Then you understand. But understanding, you know, people understanding, getting the knowledge they need to develop themselves is so hard. Everyone, I've seen people who know nothing, but they are so proud in their ignorance, knowing that they know. And that is the problem. They call us motivational speakers. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm someone who has experienced life. I've lived it, and I've hit all the targets I want.
You are telling your story.
I'm telling my story. Yes, there are people who read about stuff and they say it. I'm someone who has endured.
Motivational speakers. They are boosters.
They're boosters.
For you, I'm telling your story.
Yeah, I'm someone who has experienced life, and I say it. For the last 24 years, I've seen it.
And you've said it.
I've seen the power of persistence. I've seen the power of vision. Because it's the vision which makes you focused. A person with a vision is never diverted for any reason. All the revolutions you have seen in this world, they are visionary. It's people who have seen what a normal brain hasn't seen.
And they go towards that.
The vision can discipline you. Because whatever happens to you, you always question, does it help me walk towards my vision? If not, you let go.
And how do you tell that this is a vision?
It's what you see.
You know, we have things that come to our minds. And then at the end of the day, with the analysis that you could make this particular person that is got attached to this particular item that has come to their mind. Sometimes they are delusions, if I may say. Somebody wakes up and say, I want this. But then they are not working
towards it. Their actions are different from what they intended to do.
So I want to know, when do you say that this is a vision? Leave alone when you say, I have a goal. Because they are two different things. I have a goal. But then there is what we call a vision that we are trying to talk about. When do you say that this is a vision and I have to work towards this vision? Even if the goal tells me to stop here, but then there is a vision that I have to work towards. Sometimes the goal is going to be obtained at this stage. But then the vision
people tend to mistake fantasy for vision. They tend to mistake lust for love. But a person who knows, knows.
And how do you know?
A vision is something you believe. It is how you believe. Anything wrong or right is wrong or right according to your belief. When I see alcohol, I run away. Okay? For a Christian, when they see alcohol, they see a beverage. What causes that?
The belief.
It's the belief.
You believe and you believe.
It remains the same substance, but the belief makes it right or wrong. Now, people who are focused, who know what they want, the feelings are there. The vision is just, it brings up the feelings. The feelings create the energy. It's the energy that makes you do something. It's not what you know, it's what you feel. It's the energy you feel. For instance, you might want to lose weight. I can go to the gym, you know that.
Yeah.
Okay? I can stop the bad eating habits. We know it.
Swimming.
I can do the swimming. So knowing does not mean doing. Do you get it? In the end, it's the energy to do it.
You apply.
Application. So why are you not going to the gym? I don't feel like it. It's the energy. Do you get it? But when the doctor tells you that you are on this level, you are going to get this and this, you're on a borderline, all of a sudden, the energy will come in and you do it. There was a story of these two young boys. They're walking on snow and one of the boys fell down. The remaining boy went and got a big branch of tree and slid it down for the other one to capture it and get out. And when help came, the ambulance came, all the neighbors came out to see what was happening. They were all wondering how this child managed to get this big branch of tree and take it and help the other. There was an old man standing there. He said, I know exactly what happened. There was no one to tell this child that he could not do it. So he did not think it was the energy, fight or flight mode. It was swim or sink situation. That all the energy that he himself couldn't see for himself on a normal day.
Until he did it.
Until he did it.
That's when you capture.
Before people went to Mountain Everest, to go up there, there was this popular belief that no one could do it.
Could get to Everest up there.
They tried, they failed. They tried, they failed. The moment the first person did it, thousands did it. What changed there? They went there knowing that someone had done it before. They had the energy.
Somebody would say last month some Kenyan died from there.
Yeah. That's the negative energy. So the dream actually, the vision, if it is embedded well in your subconscious mind, the habits follow it. Yeah. It's the smaller habits.
Do we have indicators? Like for instance, you have a vision of going to the UK, and then here comes situations where whichever would be indicators, like let me say the passport is not gotten, the visa is not gotten, whichever money you put in, you're investing, it is eaten up. Yet, let me say if at all the passport comes, that's an indicator. The vision is getting what?
It's getting there.
The visa comes, maybe you're looking for money for the ticket. These are indicators per se. But then you are faced with a situation, like you said, where there would be indicators, they are hampered. They are nowhere to be seen.
To be seen.
What keeps you to say the belief keeps alive? If we put it to context of God, sometimes you pray, and then I may say, I would pray with you. We pray together on this night of maybe 27th during Ramadan. You tell me what you prayed for. Here comes time you are given. If you prayed for a Range Rover, you are buying a Range Rover.
Yeah.
I prayed with you. I prayed for a Brabus. I'm not getting a Brabus. I'm getting even nothing. So would I resort to say that if my vision, which is a belief, has not gotten indicators, I have to quit it because I have no indicators to say maybe
it's happening anytime soon.
What keeps you driven?
It's the energy, as I said earlier on. I think
because in human nature we need progress with what we are doing. If at all I see that I'm not, I could be persisting, but then sometimes I get to limit myself with the persistence, and I'm like, no, I think I'm not doing well.
I think you have heard some of my lectures when I'm talking about limiting beliefs. And I'm so thankful for you guys that you are one of the few now who can host me, because I tend to be a very controversial person. I've received the message from different sheikhs, but I'm a realistic person. Okay? I'm a realistic person. You know, there are people who have been actually limited by culture. There are people who have been limited by religion itself. I'm sorry to say this, but I say what I know and what I
as a realist.
As a realist. The thing is, that does not make me a non-Muslim. The theory to apply, you do all you have to do as you pray. But there are people who do nothing and pray and expect the results to come.
No.
You would have stayed home.
That's not true. True.
And when you tell people the principles they need to follow,
even the religion itself,
they will rebuke it. They will say, "Don't tell us. It is only God who blesses." Now, because you made it, you are telling us. Do you get it? But come on.
But logically, you don't speak to God direct.
You don't.
Even when we say that this is a direct communication with God, which is prayer, well and good. You're not going to have his voice in your ear, nor your heart.
You have to do the right thing. I tell people about right communication, networking. It's reality. You do it as you pray. But certain people are just are so into a deep ditch that whatever, the moment they need to stand up and think and do things, they'll say, it's not God's timing. They will let go. And when you try to tell them step by step on how it can be done, they normally want to take the responsibility back to God, waiting for him to make magic.
To come and talk to them.
That's where we differ.
To come and do the coaching to them.
That's where we differ. You have to do what is supposed to be done.
In other words, we are saying, even if it is God to do, I won't say even if,
It's God.
If God is going to do the working for you, there are people that have got to meet, they have got to talk to you.
Yes.
For you to understand the applicability, the whatever you
Yes, you speak to them, and then he will help you through him. They'll say yes, but not staying at home, not knowing how to talk to people, not having anything to sell.
Try hard, in other words.
You
if
try
it's
hard
for the vision and you are failing to see the indicators.
You try hard as you pray.
True.
That is my doctrine. That's what I tell people. But the bad thing is, when I'm teaching such principles to people,
You
they're
work
like,
hard, you pray hard.
Yeah,
You work hard, you
yes.
pray
They'll
hard.
go, because he got rich. That's why he's talking to us. I'm just telling you.
And you are telling them how you became rich.
How I became-
I prayed,
Yes.
and I worked hard.
Yeah. Now they look at my story, and then they get pissed along the way. Why? Because they can't see it for themselves. It's too hard. You cannot convince someone that now they have to wait for another 20 years. They'll be like, hell no, his story doesn't add up. Why? Because they're not ready to go under that.
I would say that maybe you are speaking to people whose minds are closed.
Yes,
you
of
know,
course.
whenever you are subjected,
And many of us are
whenever
so
you are
closed.
subjected to a talk of change, and you have a closed mind, I have
You're
it in
done.
me that
It's a subjective mind.
for this change, talk of change to work on you, you must bear an open mind.
Yeah, objective.
Either to learn, relearn, or unlearn.
Unlearn, then relearn.
That's
education is a continuous process.
True.
The moment you convince yourself you know nothing, you are done. You know everything, you are done. You have to know, you have to embrace how little you know. The moment you know how little you know, you start looking for knowledge.
Yasin, you know, your story, it has a very big footprint that it keeps us venture into a lot of stuff and all that. No wonder sometimes somebody would say, now how are they to that talk of telling us what to do and all that, yet we are here to listen to how he comes to settle back to Uganda after those 20 years.
It is a story. It is a story. You see, that's what I told you, that it's a vision. A vision has got to have goals, and goals without a deadline are just mere dreams. Once you can read and understand, what I did, I tell people that I'm illiterate, and they take it literally. They think that I'm illiterate. I'm only illiterate on certificates. But if you call me at any point to discuss any subject, you will be amazed with how much I can pour in there.
You are a documented illiterate, but
Yes.
an undocumented
Undocumented.
literate.
Yes. I took time to read, and I took time to appreciate people who had already gotten what I wanted. I looked into
You
their
walked
notes.
into their trades.
Yes. I tried to copy their notes. My missus can attest to this. You don't know how many books I had to print about public speaking.
Wow.
I wanted it so bad, to the point that my missus was telling me that when I come to Uganda, maybe I'll be talking to children in schools. I'll be talking to prisoners, because I was so fascinated by motivational speakers, life coaches, and when you look at what I
Are you
have
the one that introduced her to Les Brown?
Yes, I'm the one who did. I
know she's so touched with the Les
I
Brown.
used to watch that. Oh, that's all I could listen to. I read the books, the Dale Carnegie, the Napoleon Hill. I had all the ideas. I had to know how the rich think and their behaviors. And in the right time, I managed to get my hands on the book by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of me being so
And
attached
this is the
to
book that
reading.
is despised in the country today.
Now people are reading it after 20 years after me doing it. I read all the editions and I was applying them. So because Growing up, I was already into real estate. Rich dad directs you on how to do it. And these guys were already rich. Come on. They had already attained it. I was doing exactly what they were doing. And if you follow the same philosophy from today, 20 years from now, it will be the same results. And when people came to me for the first interview, my first interview was already a hit. And someone will say, oh, what a coincidence. The guy knows how to do this, but before you come in, sorry. But before anyone came to me, you don't know how many books I had read about public speaking to take out the anxiety, how to communicate, the body language, the tone, when to stop, when to pause, and how to tell stories.
You prepared yourself.
I prepared myself. And I told people before anything that success meets a prepared mind. Because the opportunity will come along the way. The fact that the mind is not prepared, you will not see it. You will actually see it as a problem. Normally, your success, your opportunities come packaged as a problem.
True.
But how you turn it around?
And at the end of the day, we run away from this problem.
Yes, successful people.
So you're running away from your success.
Yes, successful people are not people without problems. These are people who have worked out beforehand how to handle problems because they expect problems to come in. They know it is part of life. That when it comes, they have already devised the plan. They are not attacked. They are not surprised. They already mentally know how it's going.
They don't face problems spontaneously.
Yes.
They have already
prepared themselves. They don't allow themselves to be spectators of life.
Okay.
They get out and they go there. They want to be counted and they participate in life.
And you are saying that sometimes, in fact, in most cases, success shall come as a problem.
Of course.
You've given us a story how problems hit your way, but then this is your way to success. At the end of the day. So you are saying.
Do you remember my first video on social media?
Yes.
What was it?
It was to do with. I remember.
Family.
Yeah, it was to do with
the Rangos.
Yeah.
I was being arrested by my family.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Very well.
Yeah. That's how I came. And the first time someone came to make an interview
about the horse snack,
all people listened. And when I got their attention, what did I do?
You told your story.
I told my story. And the way I said it, I said with what I had read, how to speak. Not everyone knows how to convey the message. You might have the message, but delivering it is totally a different tactic.
Ibra made it.
Yes, and people bought into it. Up to now, how many countries have I gone to?
You were just from the States. You were from Canada. You passed by Dubai to relax.
And our starting point was to go to prison and primary schools and give lectures. I was obsessed with talking to people.
Have you done that?
Now I go to the UK, I go to the US, and people are paying money to see me talk.
Have you gone to the prisons?
No.
Do you intend to?
I hit the bar so high straight away.
So you are planning to go into these baby steps so that it can make you to get you there?
Yeah, but I got the opportunity and I started straight away. I think you saw what happened to 4 points.
Yeah.
Not many people can come and pay to see someone talk.
So this, in fact, I think in our modern day time of this series that we hold in Uganda, this is for the first time.
It was the first time.
You can put it at such a place, and then people are paying that
to
money,
capacity,
kind of money.
And it got up to capacity.
To
but you would say that it is Allah? Yes. You would say that did Hajj prepare himself? Yes, he prayed as he prepared himself. That should be the process. That should be the process. Yeah, real estate, do I just come in? No. I was corrupted. I saw it. It had something to do with the brain. I knew I took the pain of not enjoying my money in real time, knowing that one day what I've put here as 5 million will turn into 200 million.
We have misconceptions.
It's knowledge.
We have misconceptions in life where we tend to tell ourselves, I don't know what will happen tomorrow, I don't know. At the end of the day, what I know tomorrow is guaranteed is coming, but not for everyone.
Thank you.
So people tell themselves, maybe I'm not a part of the tomorrow, so why should I even bother to save for that tomorrow? Let me enjoy my money now.
You cannot live a negative life and expect a positive life. In real life, we don't live for ourselves. We live for others. The moment you live for yourself, you're selfish. That's negativity. Okay? And that's what many scholars in religion tell other people, that what are you working for? You're going to leave everything.
Eat your money.
No, that is selfishness. Today you go to Africana. You hold their events free. Why?
Yeah.
It was given by a hardworking Muslim.
Yeah, true.
He's gone. You go to Unkowe, thousands of fellow Muslims have been buried. Who tells you that whatever you do dies with you? It only dies with you when you're selfish. Now, if you start looking at it through under those lenses of what if I die tomorrow, that is selfishness. But if you live a selfless
at times they are shocked. You expected to die.
You live up to the 80s and you become a problem to the entire family. Do you get it?
Because you are thinking negative.
Life is about
making... So your negativity is paying you.
Is paying you. Life is about making impact. It's making impact. You can only make impact when you are helping others. The more impact you make, actually, the more successful you become.
Multiplies.
Yeah, because you're working for others. Who tells you that if you die and leave
everything... And also this is the question with God. You help me, it's going to multiply for you. That is help.
That is it.
True.
That is it.
Hajj, when do you... Because a lot we shall see. A lot we shall see. But then we have to drive the point back home here. You have spent 19 years in the UK. Now, you devise a plan to say, I am going back to Uganda to settle there. I know how you come up with the story to say, now I'm going to do real estate in Uganda. You've given us a hint about it. You've told us how you prepared your mind to become a real estate guru in the country today. How do you make up your mind, and when do you make up your mind to say, in this year, I'm going to carry my family, I go back to Uganda, we settle there, and then I add up something to the economy, if I may say, for lack of a better word.
Now, if I may be specific, when did I make up my mind?
This serves to the person in the UK.
When did I make up my mind to go back home? I made up my mind to come back home the moment I landed in England. That I was going home.
You step in England in 2002.
Yeah, 2001.
2001. At the same moment, you have it in you, I have to go back.
It's a decision.
And you even plan.
Oh, the rest just come as factors to help me come to realize it, to help me see my dream come true. The dream of...
You had a vision to go to the UK.
That's what I was telling you earlier on.
And you reach UK, you also have... now you develop another vision?
No, it's not. It's not developing another vision. It's a whole vision altogether. Going to the UK was part of the plan. Now you ask yourself, what was the point of going?
What is the mission? Let me use that word. What is the mission?
That's what people lack. That's what people lack. Why are you doing something? Forget about the process, but why are you doing what?
Why are you working out this vision?
Yes, people go there because they are not okay here. They just want to make money. So the factor, the point is not staying there. It is getting the money. And so what happens when you get the money? You come back home. So don't mix the result, the end result with the process.
With the temporal.
Do you get it? This is the process. But the process should always be helping you to reach the point. So I told you that I made the decision to come back the moment I reached. But I can tell you, even previously, I had made the decision that I was going to be here, which is home, even before I left.
Let me go
going there
for greener pastures. Once I get these greener pastures, I have to come back home. I put them to use.
That's the process. But people get lost along the way. They
How
don't
do
know
you
why.
keep the consistency
It's
of achieving this mission?
It's the vision. It's the vision.
The display.
So, someone who doesn't know what they stand for, they can fall for everything. What do you stand for? It's the main thing. What do you stand for? When people see you, what do they see? You develop that. You see the people you see, but you don't know them. You just see a human body walking around. You don't know what they stand for. Do they know you as a sheikh? Do they know you as a business person? When people see you,
What is your brand?
what's your brand? When you go, what are they going to miss?
This is Hajj Bakaluba, a life coach, a real estate guru.
That is it.
Period.
There's no mixture there. I'm not an entertainer. I'm not there. No. I know my brand. I know what I stand for. People live here, but they're just going there because they're just going to the UK, US, because other people went there. So when you go there without a dream, without focus, you are not going to gain anything. Why? Because you cannot miss a target you never intended to hit.
Did you, because I now appreciate when you came up with the plan of coming back, and this is when you stepped into the UK.
Straight away.
Seemingly,
Straight away.
for our viewers.
People have got ideas. Now, I know exactly what you are trying to make me answer. That at what point are you saying that you are coming back? All right? In my heart of hearts, I knew that I was coming back. But circumstances were not ripe yet for me to come back. But I had to make sure that they get ripe. So I had to obey the process. The vision, knowing that you set a goal. A goal has got to have timetable. It has got to have a deadline. And when you go, certain things surprise you. You are a bit delusional. You think in 5 years you're going to make it. But then life happens. You change. From here, you think 50 million is a lot. But then when you are exposed to more, you realize that you need 500 million. You need to tighten up. You need to make the years even longer. But the problem is, people who are not focused 100% during the process, they give up. Because why? It is so hard. They don't believe in it. They don't make mathematics on a daily. And without that clear vision, you cannot give yourself orders and follow them. With a clear vision, I want you to ask yourself, you saw 27 men go start waging a war against the government. And they're not even armed. And these were good to go people. Some of them former ministers, doctors. What makes them do that?
The vision they have.
It's the vision. What makes them endure that for 5 years without giving up?
They haven't yet gotten there, but they have to get there.
Yes. They had affirmation all the time. They had the vision, and all they spoke about was that, how to gain it, strategize. For 5 years, they were not attending weddings. They were not attending birthdays.
I was watching a clip last time, and then Genome 7 was saying, for a liberation to come true, there shall be sacrifice, and there must be sacrifice.
Yes.
I don't grieve because I'm a rebel. I am sorry for those that have died, but these are part of the plan.
It's part of the plan. But then people tend to focus on what they have lost, on how hard it is, and then they give up.
Yet it has to be paid along the way, or rather, eventually, at the end result of it.
That is it.
Well, Haji,
There's got to be big sacrifices along the way. You have to understand that, and that is what differentiate a loser from a winner. It is hard, because if it was easier, it could have been attained by everyone. It's not.
But it's not for anyone.
How long are you going to take it? How long? And the why determines the energy. Why did you
apply?
Yes, why did you do it in the first place? Is the question. Many people tend to forget.
Did you get resistance from the family, the wife, the children?
Of course, very much.
How are we going to survive in that
At the
country?
beginning of any journey, you start with everyone. But you have to understand, even before it happens, that along the way you're going to walk alone. Not many people believe in the process, but all of us, 100%, we believe in the results.
Yeah, true.
Everyone is there.
Because they are evident. If it is a bad result,
Thank you.
we shall just take it away.
That's why when I'm talking to people, I tell them, it's your dream. Hold it dear. Don't tell it to small minds. It's yours. Because if someone tells you no, you will need 10 people just to neutralize that one no. So if you tell it to someone who doesn't see it, they don't see it for themselves, how come that they are going to see it for you? It's impossible. For a dream, for you to believe in it, because it hasn't happened, for someone with a sober mind, they will see you as someone who's not mentally okay.
True.
Because people don't tend to believe or respect what they haven't seen. People believe by eyesight, not mind sight. But dreamers, visionaries, they don't believe by sight, they believe by mind.
True.
Before you sleep in a house, someone who's a dreamer has slept in that house for like 5 years. They have walked up the stairs, they have welcomed the visitors, they have made the housewarming 5 years beforehand. By the time practically they do that, you will think, oh, this is their first time to sleep in here. No, they have already been there. Before you start the house, you have to complete it. How do you complete?
In your mind.
In your mind.
This is where I'll be welcoming my visitors.
And
from.
that is the hardest part. To
visualizing.
To believe.
Visualizing.
To believe what you have never seen.
But then you walk around with it in your mind, and also you navigate every single aspect.
Yes, and remember, in life there's peer pressure. There are people who are having things happen. There are people who are buying new cars. There are people who are making, parties. At the end of the day, life is happening as you walk towards your dream.
For the viewers, now telling them now,
yes,
the
now,
resistance you got.
Now you marry someone. Someone, the person you marry will never be 100% on the same high vibration as you. Never.
True.
So what you dream, what you want to do, at times they see as you depriving them of what they are entitled to, because the neighbors are having it. The pressure is there. So the principles to be applied, the discipline is so hard. You are always going to be mistaken. That's why I told you there comes a time when you have to understand that you will have to walk alone. And that's what most people don't want to hear. I want to impress my girlfriend. I want to do this. So when you tell them some of the basics they have to follow, they are just going by the popular belief, dominant ideas. This is what is supposed to be done. As a young man, you need to have an apartment of 5 million. It has to be. It has to have the DSTV. Now you must have Netflix. All of those.
These are bills.
Yeah, those are bills. But those are society settings into your brain. That's why I told you that people who achieve differently, sometimes they tend to be rebels. They defy the system. They don't do what everyone is doing because they don't want to be like everyone. Einstein said, stupidity or a stupid person is someone who does the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. People are doing what everyone else is doing, and they expect to be different from that person.
From those people.
Now that's what they call stupidity.
So
you want to conform. You want to be seen as normal, because what everyone is doing is what is perceived as normal. Do you understand?
Because society has already dictated.
Yes, it has already dictated.
This is acceptable.
This is acceptable
within society.
Yes, within society.
Once you go
an
extra
against it,
mile
yeah.
from that,
Yeah.
you are becoming abnormal.
No, is it?
Not extraordinary, but abnormal.
Yeah, abnormal. And when the results come out clearly, then they will say, wow, this guy is a genius. You need to see me when I started making my first live, because I wanted to start the construction, and how I was explaining to people how things are done. I was even new to social media. I didn't know how they hold a phone. Yeah, I was just going around. Network used to go off. I didn't clean my lenses. I wasn't a professional. And at least by the time I started,
I saw them.
Yeah, by the time I started, at least I had property worth at least 5 billion. On my name.
True.
And people who knew me were like, why would he degrade himself to that extent? Going around explaining to people, this, what is he becoming? Is he a motivational speaker? But I had already,
yeah, true.
I was
a lot of questions.
Yes,
came along.
a lot of questions, because when you try to do something that has never been done in the line of people close to you, it is abnormal to them. When you go into media and all of your family have never seen media, they see like there's something wrong with you. And because they have that preconceived notion of who you are, they are like, what is he trying to do? What, because they see what...
To put it right for you, Haji, this didn't shock your family alone, not all your friends alone. What you did in the real estate field wasn't done, was not here for any other real estate person to do. This could be captured with adverts, but not for the real estate person himself
to do it. So
they could. So it was a shocker.
Yeah, and for people in that caliber, they'll be like, why is he degrading himself? He has got this, he has got... Because,
this is for a salesperson.
By then, actually, in Chande, I had 34 apartments.
Yeah. I remember my brother went and captured, I think there is a day you were mobilizing to put to record all of them. And there is, I think it is a week that he spent capturing all his your properties.
But do you know why I was doing that? I was reading from the best. What were they telling me? We are in a generation, we are in an era where we have social media. Andrew Tate said, all noise is necessary noise, as long as you know how to use it. Okay? People used to pay for adverts for their commodities to be seen.
True.
It is free. It is for...
You can advertise by yourself.
And you have seen people who have got 500,000 people following, and they have nothing to sell. They're actually looking for work. All you need is to come up with an idea and learn how to sell it.
Sell it to the public.
That is it.
To the consumer.
Sometimes we are just suffering because of our ignorance. Now, the point as to why I went to that point, I was telling you that when you start something in the beginning, it will make no sense to someone who doesn't know how it looks at the end. And people want, how can I term it? They want assurance. They want others to understand. They talk about it. They want always to be...
If I'm starting something,
you have to approve.
Approval from the public immediately.
Yes.
That what we are doing is
and
right.
if it is understood by everyone, just know that it is small. Because if they can think it, it is small.
This should be original within you, pure within you. To work it around.
And don't expect it to make sense to others. Many people fight to make sure that it makes sense to everyone around them. No, it doesn't.
At the beginning,
because they cannot see the end. They cannot see the end.
They are not within your mind.
Yes, one by one. I started with 5, 10 people, 20. I started going from one place to the other because at least I made sure, as Jim Rowe said, he said, look out for the time you spend at work. The time you spend at work should be way less than the time you spend working on yourself. In a sense, make sure you always work on yourself, because when you work on yourself and you elevate your value, there will come a time when you don't have to chase for anything.
You are saying we spend a lot of time in
working for
other people's
others.
work.
Yeah, working for people who have worked on themselves.
Yet you would have spent that time.
When you work on yourself, you increase in value. When you increase in value, money start chasing you. I had spent a lot of time crafting the work of the art of communication. I didn't go to school, but I was watching people.
You worked to improve the value of a communicator.
Yes, I worked on myself.
And here you are invited.
Do you get it? And then people started
internationally to go and speak.
How many
you are
people?
in Netherlands, you are in these.
I've never gone to school for that. That's why I keep on telling everyone that it is possible. You don't even need to have a degree. You don't. People don't do things because they lack energy. Why they lack energy is ignorance. Ignorance is caused by fear. Fear is always stirred around by ignorance. The moment you know what you're supposed to do, you will be able to do everything. A person with confidence, a person with vision can beat anyone with degrees, PhD. It doesn't matter.
Because the confidence is
there. They have the energy to do it. Today I ask you, why is the war between Israel and Palestine is not ending?
Because
look at the might of Israel.
And it has applied to these people. But they are still resisting.
Yes, the Palestine, what they have is the belief.
This is their land and they have to.
Forget about the facts. It's the belief. From the moment a child is born, is taught. So the belief is within them.
This is something we must protect jealously at all cost.
That is it.
No wonder the war is
it's
the way
the belief.
It is.
How much do you believe? The levels of your belief will determine the energy, and it's the energy which forces you to do something.
To do what you do. Well, Hajj, as we come to the last bit of our conversation, I want to know, because I'm privy to the facts that with the real estate you do back here, because presumably for our viewers to pick and also get up to speed with what we are having today. You are now back in Uganda. You've settled here with the family, and here you are doing real estate. How you started it, you have said it, and we want to know, because I'm privy to this information. What makes you specialize in, first of all, working? I know you work for people that are also here, but there is this specialization you have for the people that are in the diaspora to help them also own some property.
Actually, I don't work for anyone in Uganda. You may call me crazy, but as I said, whatever you do, make sure you learn from people who have done it. Okay? In business, I realized that you need what they call branding. When they think of something, what comes to people's mind? That's the main thing, because selling is so psychological. It needs if there was a very massive accident, what will come to someone's mind?
People have died. Nobody has survived.
Now, where do we take them? Just tell me what comes to your mind. Where do we take them?
The dead ones?
No. It is a massive accident. We are in Kampala. People are bleeding. Okay, what can we do? Thank you very much.
Because the only one that can accommodate these people.
There are many people. There are many hospitals which can do that. But what makes you think about them?
This is what has been sold to us for some good time, that Mulago is the
home
home
very
for
much.
casualties.
So, to make people come to you without thinking, that's branding.
They shouldn't think beyond.
When I talk about chicken, what will come to your mind?
KFC.
Thank you. There are many other places which that is branding. When I talk about mineral water, there was that special brand which will come to your mind. Do you get it?
True.
Do you get it?
True.
It's there. So in branding, what comes to your brain? Now, you mean KFC cannot produce rice, pilau, this and that? But why do they specialize in that? They know. They know how a human brain works. This is what I told you, that no, you don't have to do everything. You need to work on yourself, get your gift. Because your job is going to give you skills, but they can sack you from your job anytime. Okay?
True.
Your work should be out of your gift. No one can chase you away from your work.
Because it is yours.
Because it's yours. The problem is
You appoint and disappoint.
Yes.
At leisure.
People don't look for their gifts. Now, when I found mine, it was construction. Now, how do I want people to know me? There are many people here in Uganda who want me to construct for them. But how many Ugandans are living abroad? I would say they have more than 2-3 million. How many customers do I want?
From the 3 million.
And how many people are constructing for them? So why do I need to come in competition here when I can brand myself? So whatever you think about someone who constructs for people living in diaspora, trust me, you can go anywhere. It will be one name coming up, and that is enough. It's branding.
Hajj Bakaluba.
Yeah, you will give me good money to work for you here in Uganda, but I will say no. Because I want to say
And I was going to ask you that if I come with my good money, would you compromise on that principle?
No. No. It's a movement. Jack Ma said, do you know that I've never done engineering?
Of course, I'm privy to
No,
that.
not even 30 minutes of class. But learning from the best will help you. Jack Ma said you don't have to know it. You just have to come up with the idea. Then look for people who know how to do it. And they'll make it for you. And you'll pay them. Poor people are talking about what does it pay? They are talking about money. Rich people are talking about houses and cars. Wealth people are talking about ideas.
They have the idea.
It is ideas that make real money. Zuckerberg made an idea of bringing people together. That's money.
They are moving the world now.
Yes. Amazon came up with the idea on how to deliver.
E-commerce.
It's the idea. For you, what you think about is delivering. No, it's the idea. And it is said in economics, don't go where the trail will lead. Create your own
path,
such that you can leave a trail.
Create another trail for others to also go that
for yourself. Now, in business, you have to look for a problem. Ideas on how to solve the problem will bring you the money. The people in diaspora, we are trusting no one here.
Yeah.
Brothers, sisters, we are taking their money.
I don't know whether you're going to take I don't know whether you're going to take this. But I envy you for this. In 2013, here with my brother, the one that takes videos for your construction, Buster. We at our sister's house. She stays in the States. But then the money that was used to construct this house, it was not tallying up with the construction that was set up for her. So we tell ourselves, casually, that maybe we should now come up with a company to construct for people abroad. This is why I envy you. Honestly.
You procrastinated.
So we are like, And then she tells us, yeah, you would
can
make
do
some
it.
good money because this is one of the biggest problems
It's
we
a
are faced
problem,
with
yeah.
in the diaspora. We have sent money here, but we're not getting what is required from our money that we send. But of course, the mind wasn't developed to that.
The mind vision.
And also, we told ourselves, how can we pull it off then afterwards? Here you are, you come, you set up this foundation, you are doing this thing. And whenever I look at it, I'm like, this is what we talked about. I won't say it is my mind because we just talked about it and we left it there. We didn't
You
actualize
had the idea,
honestly,
but you lacked the energy to see it through.
the vision you're talking about.
It has never been your vision. For me, it just didn't happen one day.
we lack
I
the
thought
vision.
about it.
Yeah.
I thought about it. It's until when I had to produce my pictures of me standing with such in my own living room with Bakaluba Property Services on it. That's when people actually knew that I formed this company even before I left the UK to come here.
Wow.
Circumstances helped me see the dream come to life. But the dream was already
You were just
there.
filling the gap very
Yes,
well.
I was using all the resources that came across me. But the vision was already there. But as
and
I
this
said,
for us, this is what we lacked.
you can have all the opportunities, but if the dream is not set, if the brain is not prepared, you won't see it.
True.
You won't see it. Do you understand?
I do get it.
Right. Let us do a simple trick here and see whether you fall for it, to see how the brain is going to help me with your watch. All right. Now, when I look at this watch, I would ask you, what's the color of the surface?
Inside,
Yeah.
black,
Any other color?
silver,
Another color?
gold.
The marks that indicate the time, which shape are they?
It's like a hyphen, if I may say.
How many dots
I don't know.
for each one? How many silver dots?
I can't tell.
You cannot tell. Thank you. But you have been wearing this.
Since 2016.
All right. Now, take your time. Now, do you see the dots? Okay. What time is it?
I don't know.
But you have been staring at the watch.
I was counting.
Thank you. All the time you have been looking at that watch, you went there to see the time. You didn't get all the details of the surface of the watch.
True.
All those years, something you could have had at the back of your mind. That's so funny. You go there, you see that. The reason as to why you stare at it is just to see the time.
That's my concentration.
That is your concentration.
and goal to look at.
Yes, when I asked you for the watch and I gave it back to you, your concentration wasn't to see the time. It was to see the design. That's why. Do you get it? We see, whatever comes into our brain is, we see the same thing, but the interpretation is different depending on our aims.
True.
If your mind is not prepared for something, you will never see it. That's why I can go everywhere and I see opportunities everywhere. And there's someone who's waking up on a day looking for opportunities. And we're just like, wow, it is so easy to make business here. Look, I can do this, I can do that. And someone is busy with their degree looking for what to do. Why? They haven't mastered the art of looking for things to do. Looking for opportunities. That's why a foreigner comes from China with nothing. After 2-3 years, you find them here with a shop. Why? It's mindset. Remember how Idi Amin sent away the Indians here. They went with nothing. I got the opportunity to be in England. All corners, they call them off licenses, all mini supermarkets were owned by Indians. Okay? And when the Ugandans were given the same shop, the same capital, the same location. After something like 20, 30 years, they never painted a single building.
And even they
and
closed, some
all
closed.
the shops were empty.
True. Because they're not prepared to take one.
How do you call that apart from mindset? They went with nothing. They're not doing local chayo. No, they are businessmen. It's there.
They worked with their mind.
It's in the brain.
That you can't leave behind.
It is in the brain.
You move with it.
What you see is not what I see.
True.
It's until when it comes to doing. I've read people, there are people who know everything, but they don't understand. There are people who understand, but they lack the ability to understand the power of doing. Those are totally different energies.
Wow.
I'm someone who will live here, tell people that I'm going to the US to speak to people, but I know no one there. And I publish it. For a normal soul, will say, what if people don't turn up? To me, I say, even if there are two, those are my people. At least I'll know that I did it. It works, fine. It doesn't, at least I
You are
learned.
satisfied.
Yeah.
What you had in mind, you
Those
put
are,
it out.
Those are principles which have to be learned.
Don't keep something in your mind.
Do you see what happened to Ham? That guy is a billionaire.
Yeah.
Look at what he did. Look at what social media was talking about. They never applauded him for such a big achievement. All they saw was empty seats.
They couldn't even look at where the seats that were filled.
The results later on will show them, and he will prove them different.
True.
Trust me. No rich person does stupid stuff. There will be the same people going there with their vuvuzelas. Just watch the space.
And the bigger picture was to unleash the stadium, not to fill the stadium.
The unleash. You see,
if I may say,
it's the mental side.
The stadium was unleashed.
He holds what they call a mental sight. What they have is the eyesight. Visionaries have mind sight. So what do you hold?
I have a visionary and mind sight. If I may say.
Some people are delusional because they know.
I had to learn.
So
from you very well.
You thought about that in 2013.
Yes.
Do you know how many ideas I had before? I had an idea of a transportation company here for weddings. We dreamt about that until everyone started doing it. We had cheap cars, Mercedes Benzes in the UK. We never went through with it. We dreamt about bringing here the franchise of KFC. I even downloaded all the requirements.
What is required?
What is required. We never went through it. For people who had the energy to stand up and do it, they got the money. And every time someone does it, that's when you start, oh, I had that idea. It's procrastination.
See, I'm a victim of,
of
having ideas and I don't put them to life.
It is never yours until you stand up and claim it. It is for that person who has got.
There is a Chinese. I'll give you an example, Hajj, before we come to the last bit of it. There is a Chinese company. It sells this modern kind of furniture. So I land on them. They are looking for a person to give this franchise in Uganda and in Rwanda. So I go. I start talking to them. By then it was around COVID and China had closed. So they tell me, you can go to Kenya. We have a franchise there. We shall have our meetings from there. You liaise with those people there.
Okay.
So I fly to Kenya. I'm trying to move the dream.
The dreamer is moving around.
Yeah, so I fly to Kenya purposely for business. I reach there. I talk to these people. They give me all whatever is required, and the support they are promising me, and I said, okay. Now I come back to Uganda. I unleashed this whole idea to another person whom I thought that would be a part of
the mission.
Only him to tell me that, look here, this is nice, but there's also this. Let us first do this. So we venture the money into something else that at the end came to be a loss. So we lost everything to even invest in this franchise that had reached. So I'm bringing this to you to explain to me and also the other viewers that may be a victim of a kind. What is it to mix ideas and also think about partnerships regards working towards a vision? And if I may say before you come in, this company that I left behind hanging because I didn't get back to them to give them an explanation of why I'm not going to work with them with the franchise. I saw them launching last year in September with other people. The company is here working now.
And they're making money.
Of course. I'm just now passing by as somebody.
Somebody they used to know. Okay. Now, there was something I want to tell you. Many people think things are going to happen, but they take things to happen by chance. If you leave life to chances, it will never be in your way. Life is deliberate. You write it.
Okay.
I want you to quote me right on this and understand it deeply. When you do everything, you become a master at none.
When you do everything,
you become a master at none. I was speaking to my son, and he was telling me how he's connected to all the rich people's children, and he was going to be rich. And I asked him a question, that of all the people I went to school with, how many people do you see me with?
That I've introduced you that these are my hobbies.
He said none. I said yes. I said, do you see anyone doing as well as I'm doing? He said no. I said, do you think I don't have their numbers? Of course I do. But there's nothing that can bring us together anymore. In all seasons of life, you are connected to people because of the value they bring to you in that given time. That's why it is very normal for every 10 years to change friends. If there was visible growth in your life.
Every 10 years?
Every 10 years. If there's visible growth in your life. The friends Bobby Wine had 8 years ago are not the friends he has. They may be a few he's still hanging out with, but not all of them. The change dictates who is going to hang around
Who's
and
going to stay.
who you're going to let go. And when we had this conversation with my son, he said something to me clearly, which made me realize that he understood what I said. He said that now I realize that before I look for contacts, I have to make sure that I'm a contact.
Don't look for a contact when you are one, not one.
Before you see, people will associate with you after asking themselves, why are we meeting? If you didn't have these cameras here, why would I be meeting you? Tusisinkana kuchi.
True.
That is how it sounds rude, but that's life.
That's the fact.
That's the fact.
And also we should be honest with ourselves.
That is the fact. Now, what I'm trying to teach you here, you are intelligent and you are looking for ideas, but your ideas are going to be created out of chances, and the chances are so slim. Ask yourself, I don't know, you didn't tell me in details what that company does, but let me tell you one thing. Let us assume that that company needed only $100,000 to work with them. You don't have that kind of money. You are going to come and talk to me because you have a great idea. Do you think I'm going to give you that money because you came up with a good idea?
No.
I'm not. Why?
I I don't deserve it. I'm not.
Thank you.
I'm not.
You are not. You don't hold that capacity to have that money.
I'm not 100,000 USD person.
Thank you. If I came up with an idea right now, which needs 100 USD, and I don't have it, you think I can fail to get it?
Everyone would like to give to be able.
They know
to learn
it's the value you have sent out. Everyone wants to associate with me because of the value I've created around myself. They don't question.
True.
If you have a brother in Chazanga today and they call you because they urgently want to see you, you will have a reason as to why, okay, I'll come tomorrow. But if Sudil, as a mere stranger, gave you a call right now, Yakub, this is Dr. Sudil Rupereria. I'm calling in from Chazanga. We are here chilling. There's something we had. Would like to meet you. What will happen?
Bakaluba, the show is done.
It's the value. Do you get it?
True.
It's the value. It's what you think will come out of associating with them. Now you ask yourself, what will make me feel that me associating with you is worth 100 USD? But there are people who have gotten the money, even if they are not valuable in cash, but in value, in what they do. Let us talk about a common factor we can easily talk about right now. Let us say Seika Chiti, Seika Cheyune. They have specialized in a certain field.
They are known for what?
They are known, they are masters in that given game. If they wanted to come up with a big structure and you front them, now they're coming up with an idea. They don't have businesses. Do you know that they can pull up a project of that money?
Sure.
They have branded themselves.
They are respected values.
They are respected. Thank you. They are respected values. When they say something, people will believe because they're specialists in something. So what are you specializing in for someone to want to work with you? That's why I'm telling you that I don't do everything. I do something.
You become a master of none.
Yes, you become a master of none. People were asking me why I went to Ghana, why I went to Nigeria.
Yeah, I saw you.
After 1 or 2 months, I released a beautiful structure.
That they thought it is in Ghana.
Celeste. It's everywhere. I reached Canada, they are talking about it. I reached US, they are talking
Even
about it.
me, I'm talking about it.
Now, let me tell you a secret. Whatever you saw on that building, I bought it before I flew to Ghana.
Yeah.
I already had the concept of what I wanted to achieve. But because of the branding in my own company, I had to make what they call a build-up. A build-up. Now, I go to Ghana. Whatever I saw in Ghana, I had already seen it on social media.
Yeah.
Whatever I saw in Nigeria, I had already seen it. There's nothing new I saw apart from different from what I had seen on social media.
So what takes you to Ghana?
It's perception. Is to make you ready that I'm exposed. And nothing takes me there apart from passion and knowing what I'm doing. Not extra knowledge.
Because I saw the build-up. You post here, you are in China. You take us through the hardwares in Guangzhou and elsewhere.
Yes, and when people see beautiful lights, they'll be like, oh, you got this one from Kenya. No, I got the lights before I went to Ghana.
True.
But it's how I do my business. It's how I prepare you. I'm trying to sell out the image that I'm a profession to this.
And I'm connecting the dots now. That,
yes.
That The shopping I saw you doing in China
Is what you saw on
is
the bill.
subject to the results we are seeing at that particular structure.
Yes, but I went to China before I went to Ghana.
Yeah.
If I didn't say it here, you wouldn't put it
Of
together.
course, I couldn't put it in
Do
context.
you get it?
Yeah, now I get
You
it.
assume that what I put on the building, the ideas, I got them from Ghana and Nigeria, which is not the case. What am I trying to sell to you? Which other real estate developer would take a trip to West Africa just to have ideas?
It would be waste of money.
It will be
By look
thank
of
you,
things.
waste of money.
And I'm working to get this money, I'm wasting
perception, what you're trying to build is this guy is a professional. When you see me, when you talk about construction, when you talk about beautiful luxury finishing, what comes to your mind?
Hajj Bakaluba.
Thank you. You are trying to be a master at something. In that someone dealing with billions will be obliged to come to me because I'm making myself a brand.
This takes us to this question.
And I do that on purpose, not by chance. What you're doing, you are doing it on chance. They told
Let
you
me try.
there's this company, then you go. When they look at you, ask yourself, what do they do? If it is something which has got to do with communication, let us talk about phones. You have to be able to demonstrate that at least you hold a telephone shop in Kampala and a branch. You have technicians of phones. You don't go in merely for business, but it's inbuilt in you.
You have it in you.
That is it.
You are going for what you know.
Yes.
Or what you hold idea about.
Not taking by chances. That's why you see people are like, okay, Chechikola tells, okay, let me go for this. So they don't do due diligence. Do you get it? It's by chance.
They don't take studies in what they want to
don't take studies. And studies take a long time. And studies take a lot of money.
True.
Which may look to be unnecessary.
Yet it is an investment.
Yes, I've done many. You know, when I went to Ghana, when I went to Nigeria, I went with videographers. I had to hire some from the other side, but how many videos did we take? 5 or 6. So I had a group from here, I had a group from there, for only 9 videos. For someone who only thinks about money, will think about how much they are going to waste on the ticket, on the hotel, and on the team. But for a person with a vision, they will look at the brand and what they intend to achieve at the end of it. So someone who sees with eyes will see the money, and they will tell you how non-economical you are to be doing that. But someone who sees with the brain, the eyesight, will look at that as nothing, because he's going to spend 20-30 million and he's going to create $1 billion.
In fact, they look at it as an investment.
As an investment. You make yourself worth it. Life does not give you what you want. It gives you what you deserve.
Remember, you said whichever money you have, you must name it.
Yes. So now I'm trying to position myself as a deserving person. What makes you deserve that? All right, you want me to give you 100 USD? What makes
attach value to it?
Yeah, attach value. So you create value. That's why I show you this, I show you that. I go to talk shows to keep the presence, to keep the face.
You see the value of the person that is going to work for you.
Someone gives you 100 million and they are not even scared. They know you. They know you're a valuable person. That kind of money is way below you. The value of you have set it. You see, the world gives you an open check, and it's waiting for you to write the amount.
Well, Hajj, going back to the people that you work for, you serve to see that they get the desirable results of what they pay for. Do they have some specific preferences? You know, we have, when you look at the styles we have in the country, you may think we have one engineer in Uganda, if I may say.
You see, when you want to catch a thief,
Build, put this. Build, put this roof.
when you want to catch a thief, you have to think like a thief.
Definitely.
Okay? When you speak to such people, speak less, listen more. And it's easy for me because I've been in the same situation like them. I've been exposed to what they're exposed to. Someone from the UK will want to see bright lights. They want to see white color.
This is what they've been exposed to.
That's what they have been exposed to. Come to Uganda and look at what people are painting.
Yellow,
It will be
green.
yellow, cream. There's nothing like thinking outside the box. Look at my structures. If I'm coming up with a real good structure, it will be black roofing. The painting will be white. The lights will be there. The windows will be massive. And as I talk, I say exactly what they feel about Uganda's construction. That's why I said I don't compete because what I do is a gift. Understanding my clients. I'm not the best in construction, but first of all, I understood the market. I understood the trade I'm involved in. First, I sell 3 things. The first is trust.
Okay.
The second is trust. The third is construction.
Trust, then construction?
Yes.
Why are we having 2 trusts here?
The moment you lose trust, it doesn't matter how good you know. No one is going to give you the money because they are not here.
Okay.
If you look at it critically, I'm not the best construction company here. I'm not.
So, this is trust.
Trust.
You don't want to lose trust,
Trust.
so that you can save you can secure the next job. What brings it here again?
To show you how meaningful it is.
Okay.
You see, when Islam was advising you to love your
The
parents, it made a repetition.
To the mother.
the
To
mother.
stress 3 times. Now we are stress trust.
Yes.
I remember I was in Dar es Salaam, and this ambassador of Canada tells me, this is the advice I picked, I think, also from him. He told me the last thing that I should lose should be my word. Now I put it to sense when you say trust. And then-
Once you can say something, once you can give your word and keep it, make people feel like it's like money in the bank, you're good to go. People will give you money without chasing you, without bringing this person to witness, because you have built the character. And if you lose that, the rest, you might be a professional, it doesn't matter. You won't get any clients. That is the first thing I understood. And many people were screaming, it is so hard to get in contact with you. We can't get you. I mean, the moment I start giving my authorization to PAs, to different people,
you are jeopardizing
yes, I'm creating loopholes.
the communication.
Yeah, we spoke to Hajj. He's going to give you this engineer. Then they'll get theirs. They'll start receiving the money. They'll start doing the shed work or not even doing it. And it only takes 1 client.
True.
So now it is understanding what you're selling. Take little, but be consistent. Do you know what you want to do? Or you are just leaving it to chance? What are you?
I must be deliberate.
Yes, you must be deliberate. What's
work
your
a plan
profession?
for
You see,
Attach value to
when they mention your name, what comes to people's minds? That should be your aim. Look for a problem. That is the first thing, and create a solution.
If it is anything to do with bringing food to your table,
Yes.
it must be
It must
with the
be-
approach of problem solving.
Yes, problem solving. Look for a problem, come for a solution. And what makes you a better candidate compared to others. And it is always service before payment. And above all, make sure that whatever you're doing is impacting the other person. they have to feel that's impacting them before it serves.
Don't be average.
Yes.
If I may say.
You have to serve. And what happens here? Whoever you call to make business, what's in there for me? What's in there for me?
I understand.
You come here like Thurayya, you're making impact, you're sending out,
These
all
messages.
the information. It is service first. Before you know it, something financial will come in because you have made impact.
The value.
The value is there. Yes, the value comes out of service. They know that you are watched by many people. Next time you call them to do something, they'll come and they'll be ready to pay. Why? Because you served first.
True.
You made them feel comfortable before they wanted
Working
to do it.
with you.
Normally, a human brain is not serviced to serve the other, to give the other. It is so selfish. For them to give you, you have to
First give them.
Yes, you have to first
There
give
must
them.
be a two-way traffic exchange.
Yes. Don't be like a guy who stands before a charcoal stove and ask for fire to give charcoal. No, you give charcoal, then you
get the fire.
you get the fire.
Hajj Bakaluba,
don't
Yasin.
put the cart before the horse. It's going nowhere. You see, those are small principles. Whatever I'm saying
But very
here,
pertinent and fundamental.
what I'm teaching here today is not something you're going to get out of universities. That's why people are holding many degrees, but they don't know what to do.
True.
They know what was written, and forgetting that what is written is not what is actually happening in real life. Real life is constant learning. What is happening today, what is working today, will not be working next year.
The next year.
2 years ago, Facebook was high here. It was the best.
Today TikTok.
Today TikTok, and before you know it,
TikTok
come
shall
on,
also be down.
we have come a long way. Things keep on changing.
Evolution.
And when you see something beautiful today, you think there's nothing that can outcompete it. There was one philosopher who said that you don't have to fight something old. You just have to make something new, make it better. It will automatically make the old one obsolete. You don't have to fight it. In my story, when I told you, where I used to go was the post office to wait for the fax, to wait for my letters, and it was all lined up. People are waiting to open their PO boxes. It was the day. It was the time. Buying calling cards. It was the time. Receiving their letters. It was the time. Did they close it?
No. It is still there, by the way. But now we are opening up box numbers.
The new
Online.
things, the new things will make the old go out without having to fight, as long as it is better than the old. We used to receive pictures from people from abroad, and you wait for the picture for like 3 weeks to be delivered. Then you need to go to the post office. Someone
collect
now
them.
will take it instantly, send
You
it to you.
receive it.
It's done. It's done. It makes the other one useless without fighting it. And that's life. Whatever you do, you keep on updating it. That's why you see people who were who got their degrees in the 90s, up to now, they are talking about the education they have. I can do that. But you qualified using the now English course, which is no longer even on syllabus.
True.
And you're bragging that you have got education.
No wonder it is not serving.
No, yes, you are very equipped to deal with the future of yesterday. It's not effective anymore. You are applying the wrong dose.
To cure.
Yes, that's why street clever guys are earning because they know how to
The
update.
innovation and
yes,
also
that's why when
get
you,
up to date with
when you
what
buy
is
your
required.
phone after a month, they'll tell you to upgrade, update. Life should be working.
You
through
update
updates.
it, and also when they bring another one, they tell you to upgrade it.
To upgrade.
Get another one.
That's
because
how life works
that's
as
done.
well. Yeah.
Anyway, Hajj, have you encountered challenges in this business, working with the people in the diaspora?
Yeah, like any other human being, like any business. But what it is, you see, let us talk about maybe an airline. You can see, you might say like Emirates is a good airline, it's spacious, it's clean, it's this and that, and you give it a tick. You find someone who lost a luggage at one point and they labeled that airline like the worst airline. See, we came and they made us stay there for a long time, and you were surprised that they couldn't get our luggage on time.
But they are talking one of the best.
Yeah, one of the
airlines
best.
That you could name.
So, people form opinions based on what is before
the
them.
experience.
Yes, I've had people who have formed opinions about me, about how I do business. Some of them, they have never even worked with me. That's given. So certain things are so good to be true. And we all come from different backgrounds. We are strangers, we meet. You can construct a good house for someone, and maybe a carpenter made a door from timber which wasn't dry yet, and after 6 months it will show some cracks because it's drying up. And someone doesn't remember how you have gone through the whole process of putting up that structure, and they'll concentrate on those two doors. There are people who are decent enough to overlook, and there are people who don't have that decency. If you don't do it, they'll tell someone you have to do. So that's business.
So how do you address these challenges that you encounter with the people that are in the diaspora? I know your clients, maybe you're putting up a structure for them in the country, but then they are not here. Then a problem comes, and they are given a report by whomever would be taking care of.
It is principle. It is service before money. Okay. That's one thing I believe in. So some projects I do, I don't get any profits, but I value my name. I value my brand so much, because I know if I keep the brand, the money will follow. So some clients, some of them expect way higher than what they paid for. But as someone who knows business, make sure before you move to another client, you finish off with the old one. You finish off with the old one.
Get in the good books of...
Yeah. Some people, when they do business, is once sold, non-returnable. Never make that.
Are you okay to share with us the future plans of your arrangement, kind of business?
No, I'm good.
Would you?
No, I would prefer to keep it to myself.
Okay.
But one thing I know is we are working towards growth.
Okay.
The consistency in service has to be there. Okay. And we are not planning on phasing out anytime soon.
Then
it has to be steady progress. We are not rushing. We are just consistent.
After you look, you know where you are headed, and also you can see it.
That is it. The vision is there.
Remember, you can see it here.
We don't share vision.
I understand.
Not with Ugandans. We don't.
Well, Hajj, which advice would you give somebody who is in the diaspora and maybe they're looking at coming back to settle here as well? They're looking at coming back to do business here. Or even they're not thinking about coming back. Which advice would you give them?
Come back home.
Okay.
Come back home. That has to be the goal. But don't simply come back home. Prepare before you come back home.
Okay.
And much as you may think that you are doing well, factory setting is factory setting. You may stay there for years, but you will never be one of them. Your setting is here.
Okay.
You will get tired. You will retire. If you disconnect from Uganda 100%, you will pay for it. You are busy where you are. That's why it is comfortable for you to stay there. The moment you retire and you have to stay indoors, that's when you remember home.
Well, thank
because you know here when you get old, what happens? Tugenze kudwa yagunzi, tugenze kuzika, tugenze you have things that keep you active. You remain relevant as you're
As
living.
an elder. in
Yes,
society,
an elder.
If I may say.
Yeah, there you will be just a problem in your own house, stressed
Until you are
and-
taken to the home.
Yeah,
Okay.
Chigwera one.
So, what is, how much is it? Or what is much? For a young man, young woman who has just gotten to the UK today, what is how much for them to say, now I can go back home?
It depends on your dream.
Okay.
It depends on your dream. There are people who dream of earning 3 million. If they can attain that and they can fix their lifestyle within those means, they're successful.
Okay.
There are people who see themselves spending 15 million. I cannot advise them the way I'm advising the one who's dreaming about the 3 million. So it literally depends on your dream. That's why it's called your dream.
Okay.
Your dream is created through your vision.
You know how
And
much it
it's,
weighs. and
it's
all.
yours. It's yours. That's why people come for me for advice. I will never advise all the people because there's no way you are going to do exactly what I did. And we are not all meant to do real estate. There are people who are going to do medicine. They are going to come up with hospitals. There are people who are going to do schools. There are people who are going to go in media.
Different works.
Different works. So when you go in there and you get all the information you need, you try to be the master at that, and you just follow it. It works, it works. It doesn't, it doesn't. Simple as that. It's your life to try.
Okay.
And some people prefer not to try because they just want to be safe, not to me.
I really understand. Well, Hajj, in conclusion, as we wind up, what is the takeaway for today for our people that you would implore them to pick from our 3-hour talk?
It's been 3 hours? You have cheated me. I wanted to stay here for now. I don't know who's going to pay for the next 2 hours. Good Lord. Good Lord. The main aim of our talk today is to help a youth to go home and ask the important question or questions. Because the moment you start asking yourself the important questions, you start getting the important answers. What am I good at? When people see me, what goes through their minds? How old am I? How worthy am I? Where do I see myself next year? When do I see, how do I see myself in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years? Who do I want to be with? Who will I be seated with? And seated with them as who? What will be my impact? Do you get it? People don't ask such questions. That's why they end up being nowhere. Obama stood for presidency. Any black child must have used drugs, must have had girlfriends, must have been imprisoned. That is the norm of an African child, black child in Boston. They looked for all of that. They didn't get. Fox News was after him. So some people put it to chance, but at times it's deliberate preparation.
That this is who we're gonna be.
Yes.
Don't give them a reason.
I've never seen a mufti whose pictures are being brought out of him in a bar. There must have been something he did deliberately to be there. So at least your take today should be that whatever is going to happen in your life, you have to know, you have to believe that it has to be deliberate. You don't leave it to chances.
It should have a bearing to your future.
Yes, and it can never be deliberate until you deliberately or cautiously wake up and stand
For
up
me to be the way you
for
want
it
it
to be. You will never miss a target which you never intended to hit.
Wow.
You only say that I've missed because there was a target.
Wow.
Some people are living life without targets. If you went to a football pitch today and there were no goalposts, it will make the whole game invalid. It is useless. It's not football.
Wow.
Because you don't have goalposts. For it to make meaning, it must have your side and the opposite side for the game to flow.
Makes sense.
Now, some people are playing, but they don't know where to score. Why? Because they never deliberately erected
The
the
goalposts.
goalposts. They're just playing. And some people are traveling, but without destinations. Destinations have got to be specific. Because in that way, let me tell you shortly. Before I went for my tour, I made sure that I was going to release one of my best projects. And I made sure that I created the videos on social medias on all my social media handles to be trending, such that they can trend where I'm making.
Sense the other side.
Thank you. And that was deliberate. And we reached a point where the project wasn't finished, but the tour was on.
I remember.
So we started
see
working
it, and I saw-
day and night.
I
Day
saw
and
the
night.
pressure.
We had
that
target.
kept you there.
We had target. We had target. So it's not that the building was going to go somewhere.
Yeah.
But it was deliberate. It had to go there as you go around. The results will be different if we postpone it. So anything, and we managed to do it. They call it Parkinson law. Parkinson law has got a way of allowing you fit things. Let me explain it to you how it works. When they give you a job and they tell you that you are supposed to be off here at 4, you start at 8 to 4. How many hours are those? Let us say 8. Fine. You will start working and all your work will be done at 4. You don't know how that works out, but you create ways to make that work fit. For instance, you go out for smoke. You come here, do some work, then you go on Facebook. All right? Towards the end of the 8 hours, then you wrap up and send the assignment. Deliberately to fit
In the 8 hours.
in the 8 hours. But if your boss came to you and said that, oh, you told me you had your daughter's birthday? Yes, all right, you can, as long as you finish that work, you can go home. The same work will be finished within 4 hours. What causes that? You cut out the unnecessaries. You get it? The lunch breaks, the YouTube breaks, or the dinners, all the drinks.
All the unnecessaries regards the work.
The chats with your colleagues. Why? Because
Let me finish up.
Yes.
I get the other side.
And you'll be amazed. The same work will be finished within 4 hours. What happens there? You deliberately did it because you had a target. So people are not getting the results they want because they're so relaxed. They have no time frame. They don't know where they see themselves in the next 5 years. So life just
And
happens.
they don't mind.
Yeah,
They don't envision themselves
life
in the
is
next 5
simply
years.
just happening to them.
Whatever happens in the next 5 years, alhamdulillah.
Look at a politician. 5 years before the election, see how he starts preparing himself.
Once he's elected, he starts preparing again for
Yeah,
the next 5 years.
talking to this person, talking to the elders. Why? Before the elections. And when he gets elected, he'll chill. Then 2 years before, he will go back, start, go attending all the barrios, this and that. Why? There's a target. When you live a life with purpose, you know how to program yourself.
And maneuver around.
You don't need to be told. Life without a purpose is purposeless. So whatever you do is purposeless.
Wow.
You wake up, you just do what you feel, and there's nothing, no stress, no achievement, no results.
Hajj Bakaluba Yasin.
Simple.
What your takeaway? Our viewers, today I want to appreciate your endurance to see that you take note of what has been given to you by Hajj Bakaluba. Hajj Bakaluba, that was our takeaway. What's your final word?
My final word
for the viewers.
Your life is 100% your responsibility. No one is coming to rescue you. Stop blaming people. Yes, you have rich siblings, you have rich uncles, you have rich friends. In real life, help from others doesn't help. They'll only help you when they feel that they are going to get something from you. Even your parents, you may think that they expect nothing from you, but at least they expect respect from you. All relationships are reciprocal.
That's human.
Whatever they are giving you, they are expecting something back. So whatever you are demanding from people, what are you paying back? Don't take what you have been taught that you have to be given. It's never there. It's beautifully written, but life is different. You don't get what you want, you get what you deserve.
Wow.
Go out there and be deserving.
Wow. Thank you very much, Haji Yasin Bakaluba. Life is 100% your responsibility. Life is deliberate in its setting. I have nothing beautiful and more making sense to the view to those words. If I told them to even say it, I'll just put a spot to them. Thank you very much, our viewers. Thank you very much, Haji Yasin, for sparing time to see that you educate the world today. Till next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.